sees my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the World Grand Prix, and this time around it's going to be the second round of the main draw, and it is going to be Xiao Guodong versus Ronnie O'Sullivan, and somehow actually, it's going to be the world number 10 against the world number 11, after Xiao Guodong handed even tougher draw than Ronnie O'Sullivan, defeating Kyle Wilson in the opening round by 5 frames to 2, and Ronnie himself managed to overcome quite a sort of difficult clash for himself against Joe Connor in the first round, and now he's going to be trying to get into the quarterfinal stage for the first time since the China Grand Prix, also known as Xi'an Grand Prix, as he tries to take a bit of a sip of water there. Now then, a handshake between the two players. Xiao Guodong, of course, before playing Ronnie O'Sullivan, said that it was always going to be a very interesting encounter for him because having Ronnie as his idol, but I think that there's also another point there to be started on. As soon as we finished the match of Joe Connor and Ronnie O'Sullivan, of course, there would have been some terrible news in the world of snooker, and an absolute legend of the game. A great player, a great person, a great commentator has passed away, unfortunately, yesterday, John Virgil, and at 80 years of age, someone that hasn't actually watched snooker in the English language for the entirety of their life, and neither has done it on BBC. It's certainly a great loss to the game, and been very much aware of who he was and what he's done to the game, but yeah, it's just super sad to lose someone like him, and I hope that his soul is going to be able to rest pretty well, because he certainly deserves it now. And back to the match we go. So Ronnie O'Sullivan there with a poor safety shot straight away to be played. I do have to say that, especially from what we've seen of Xiao Guodong against Kyle Wilson, Ronnie needs to just forget about all of these errors that he's been making and start playing some top snooker there from himself. And then try and do something of a better performance than what we've seen against O'Connor. Of course, going 2-0 down, being able to recover to 2 frames each, and in the end still being 3-2 down, in the end winning 3 frames on the bounce, and beating Joe by 5 frames to 3. And when it comes to the head-to-head, it's still very much going to be in favour of Ronnie O'Sullivan, with the previous matches to be played. They haven't really featured against each other too many times previously, and you have to say probably the biggest occasion must have been last year, actually, where he was champion of champions. O'Sullivan was leading in the opening round by 3 frames to 0, but in the end, Xiao Guodong managed to find 4 on the bounce and somehow to be the runner-up of the champion of champions that season to Mark Williams. So then, 8 points is going to be the advantage here for Xiao, and yeah, he's certainly not going to be playing as inconsistently as Ronnie has been, so he's going to be all about trying to put the pressure here. Of course, one of the top seeded players actually left out in the tournament, and probably for the first time in his career, ranked higher up than Ronnie O'Sullivan himself. Of course, when it comes to his CV, its 2 most and biggest achievements have to be the Wuhan Open trophy, back-to-back in 24 and 25 seasons. So, once again, to try and do it here in China, especially in Hong Kong, with him being so praiseful of the venue and of the fans. Probably won't be praiseful of them today because of, you're always going to have, even though he is from China, I still think that you're going to have Ronnie O'Sullivan, the upper age of the sport. It's going to be quite difficult for him to try and settle into this match straight away, but I think Ronnie certainly helped him with that, giving this chance away, and now 23 points down, because it was a bit of a cursed number for Ronnie O'Sullivan and Joe Connor to an extent, with a couple of times where the players scored 23 points and in the end didn't actually go on to sort of win those frames. So 24 points now is going to be the advantage, and yeah, Xiao Guodong still has only 2 more reds available to him, so he'll need to try and get that cue ball into the bunch. See if he's going to be able to try and do it now, because he has got the angle and he is going to play this shot, so needed to bounce away, and I think it worked out perfectly there for Xiao Guodong. He should be on a roll now to be taking the frame away. And once again, just proving how important it's going to be for O'Sullivan to be taking every single chance there that presents to himself. As much as we can all appreciate him getting past the first round, think the second one is going to be loft up under that. So, I mean, I say he's got a chance to try and go for this red. I assume that's the case. Into the right middle, but it doesn't seem like he's too eager to try and take this shot on. Of course, I can understand why. He wants to try and stay on the black here. Into the right corner, but of course it's all about just trying to continue the break. He should be able to stay on the black anyway with playing this shot with backspin. And with a bit of side as well, off the cushion. Lined up for the black yet again. So I think just playing around these reds is going to help. And then you're going to have a short selection of either pocket into the left or the right corner out there. So plays another black quite nicely. So still doesn't seem like there's going to be any first frame struggles here. And no surprise about the fact that Watchalong might come into the second or even third frames whilst being 1-0 or even 2-0 down. Something that we have seen happen pretty much at every single match that he's played in the last 2 or 3 months. Which of course the aspect of the game that he always needs to try and improve on, but I suppose that comes away with Xiao Guodong playing pretty much all the matches that he could. You know, of course, apart from the ones which he was eliminated from, but when you're missing out on a couple of those tournaments, it's always going to bring your match fitness slightly down, and I think that's going to be the main, or one of the main factors why you're going to be losing the opening couple of frames. And of course, well, for the first time in some time, certainly, we're going to have the class of 92 represented by only Ronnie O'Sullivan here, with Mark Williams being out in the opening round. And the same can be said about John Higgins against Xiao Xington and Zhang Anda respectively. So 2 Chinese players, by the way, knocking out John Higgins and Mark Williams. So could we see 3 out of 3 because China, for the team and for the country represented by the players, have been doing super well. And in fact, I think only Ding Zhuwei has been on the receiving end of things, and the likes of Wu Yize, Xiao Guodong, Xiao Xington, Si Xiaowei, Pang Jingsu, and even Yuan Sijun there managed to knock out the world number 1, the world number 2 there when it comes to Wilson, and yeah, of course we've had the world number 3 eliminated as well there. So top 3 of the world, not making it past the first round, but Xiao Guodong certainly looking to make it past the first frame as soon as he possibly can. He's got 62 points advantage to go with it. Doesn't seem like he's going to struggle through any of those shots here at all. And yeah, really cheap mistake given away by Ronnie, and yeah, it looks like it is going to cost him very dearly indeed. It's all about the next frame then. It looks like it is going to be just the red and a black combination, which Xiao Guodong will need. And he's still going for an incredible 145 here, by the way, because I think that's going to be the highest break if he makes it so far in the World Grand Prix. And as I always say, it's a lot more impressive for that to come in the opening frame because of just how much rhythm you're able to build for yourself. But he's certainly going to be building away here to an advantage. It is going to be Xiao Guodong 1, Ronnie O'Sullivan 0. He's got 71 points of an advantage here, so just try and stay on the century break, get himself into a perfect start, and then leave to O'Sullivan to try and do something about it in the second frame as well. Very rapid frame there, and yeah, massively compromised by that opening error, and in the end, Xiao Guodong making absolutely the most out of it. Taking another red into the left corner, playing the cue ball off the side cushion. And on for the black here once again, it has been the case. What pretty much feels like every single time there. I mean, you had to play for the pink, which would have been on the blue spot at that point for 2 of those occasions. Apart from that, it's all been reds and blacks that he had to take. And now on 86 points, you can see 11 reds, 2 pinks, and 9 blacks there, making the break of 86 points and counting. So all about trying to hold the cue ball once again for the black. He landed pretty awkwardly on the previous shot, but he's able to play this one rather well. You can see once again that pretty much opening shot error, which, you know, we've seen Ronnie think about that red into the left corner, and I have to say at this stage, certainly it could not have turned out any worse for him. But this is the next level. You know, it's all fun when you're going to be trying to beat the world number 26, but when you try and step it up pretty much twice and a half in terms of the ranking and the position of Xiao Guodong, especially the form that he comes into this match. You know, he's been playing some really good stuff, getting himself to the, well, quarterfinal of the Masters, which probably wasn't the highlight of his campaign, losing out to Wu Yize 6-0. But in the end, still had a decent campaign at the 2 Triple Crown events that we've seen this season. Of course, Ronnie not getting past the first round in any one of them. But didn't feature at the Masters and didn't actually just get through the first round in the UK Championship either. So then just once again try and get this black into the corner pocket. Slightly too close to the red. So he might compromise himself slightly for the total clearance. So once again just trying to stay on the black for as long as he can. But yeah, he's going to be playing for, well, either pink or blue here, you would have thought. Because I think he'll realise better than anyone that he's going to be on high streak here. So 111 points as he takes the pink. Tries to take it into the left corner. So once again, probably expect the cue ball to bounce away off 2 side cushions. And get himself lined up for the yellow. Beautiful white control once again there. And yeah, this is going to be taking some stopping there from O'Sullivan. Because it was always going to be the case. But Xiao Guodong is certainly here to play. I think ever since that meeting in the Champion of Champions, since we've seen that massive glow up and the performance go up in stages there from Xiao, it's never going to be an easy walk in the park there. I did have to say, I did expect a bit of a, you know, the thing about it is Ronnie O'Sullivan, the 7-time world champion, but we certainly haven't seen that in the opening frame. And as I say, one shot being played from Ronnie. He's done all the damage here from his point of view, and what followed was a break of 126 points, so still potentially 144. Certainly is going to be a fantastic start to the opening frame, especially with, you know, the position being very much covered up when he came to the table. Had that wonderful split. Only needed one shot for that to be spread out beautifully. And now just trying to stay on the pink. Takes the blue nicely, and he's going to have the perfect positional play on the pink. So just the last of the 2 colours. But I think he's going to have put perfect position on the pink. He still might have to try and play the shot the long way around. Maybe he's just going to be able to just about bounce the cue ball off the side cushion and get himself lined up for the black to be taken into the left corner, you would have thought. That's exactly what he's done. 2 big bounces off the side. And now the black for a clearance of a 144. This is going to be a fantastic start from Xiao Guodong's point of view. And he'll certainly get Ronnie O'Sullivan thinking, because Xiao Guodong is here to play. And he's going to be one of the real threats for the title this week. And, well, it's that Stan Moody there in the background. He's certainly going to be watching this one and taking notes. And, yeah. I mean, so is Ronnie O'Sullivan. He had a lot of time to think about this one. And, well, it's certainly going to get him into a thinking process of every single shot that I play has to be taken very, very carefully. Otherwise, I might not stay in this match for too much of the time. It is now Xiao Guodong that leads Ronnie O'Sullivan by 1-0. On other tables, you probably are going to have Xiao Guodong as the highest rated player of all the 8 of the ones that we've got. Once again, a lot of them being from China. Xi Xiaowei against Pang Jingsu, with Xi Xiaowei trying to get the first frame on the board. Barry Hawkins against Zhang Ande, the previous meeting that we've seen. In the German Masters last week, Chris Wakelin against Elias Lesser. It was like another meeting that we've seen, but of course, 2 semi-finalists of Saudi Masters being up against each other. It's going to be Wakelin off to a great start there against Elias Lesser. But does seem to be on a bit of a downhill ever since that Saudi performance that I mentioned, and getting through to the quarterfinal of the English Open as well straight after that. But yeah, I mean, incredibly, you have all the 8 names of Barry Hawkins, Zhang Ande, Xi Xiaowei, Pang Jingsu, and Chris Wakelin, and Elias Lesser. Ronnie O'Sullivan, you're going to have Xiao Guodong as the world number 10, and therefore, the highest rated of all of them. Of course, O'Sullivan dropped out to the world 11. after he's not really too successful in a campaign at the German Masters. And certainly getting eliminated in the second round would not have been part of his plans, but he's still going to be in the fight here. And it's just a matter of how long will he actually stay in this fight for. Needs a response, but also needs a bit of drop-off, I would say, from Xiao Guodong's point of view, because if he's going to be playing frames like that, from what we've seen before, that's not going to be good enough from Ronnie's perspective to basically force him into an error and give a chance away here to the 7-time world champion, which he's going to be guaranteed to take. So very much interested to see, like, you see from this side, you can't really tell, but I thought Ronnie has switched on to the new chalk of Tarum. That doesn't really look to be the case from here, which, you know, may explain all the tip troubles that he had. Trying to do some maintenance work on the German Masters, but also having some of his issues yesterday when he was biting the tip of his cue as he was approaching the intermission. So once again, this time around, it's going to be quite interesting to see there, because Xiao Guodong doesn't really strike me as a player that is going to try and go for every single opportunity. And he's probably the player that would be having quite a nice reputation when it comes to the safe shots as well. So Ronnie needs to try and make it work for himself in terms of having the ability to try and play some nice safeties. And of course, when the chance gets presented to him, he needs to make sure he's going to be there to try and take it. So for now, once again, tries to avoid the contact on the yellow, which hasn't really worked out at all. So it is going to be a long shot opportunity, something that, you know, I have to say, I can't really witness how Ronnie O'Sullivan will be able to get rid of these issues, because it seems to be sort of creeping away, and pretty much 90% of the frames that he's playing there, catching either yellow or brown, pretty much full ball, and leaving this cue ball in the, you know, vulnerable position. And Xiao Guodong certainly is going to be able to take this one. So just guiding that cue ball on towards the ball colours. Maybe slightly uncomfortable there with the brown, but as he takes another brilliant shot, it was very difficult to try and find the corridor for the cue ball to be going all of these reds and the black. In the end, he's certainly able to do so. And now, well, he can try and go for the yellow as well into its own pocket, so that's going to be the factor for him to consider as well. But I think from this angle, it is going to be all about taking the brown, sending that cue ball onto the right side cushion, trying to have it to basically bounce away onto the lower part of the table. So Xiao Guodong doesn't seem to be too focused on that. He's going to try and play the yellow, but it's slightly difficult, more difficult I would say, from the cut's point of view, because you get less control of the cue ball. So let's see where that one's going to finish. It seems to have a really nice line, but is he going to be over those reds? I don't think he will be, you know. So yeah, I mean, unless the top red is going to be getting past the one which may be blocking the path there, right by the black, and he will be. So clearly that was the plan for Xiao Guodong to be playing for this red anyway, which I have to say explains a lot of things, because had that not been the case, he would have had a very minor sort of section to try and play the cue ball for. But, you know, for now, he's got 100% of pot success after a frame in a bit. Didn't really miss any of the shots that he's played. And apart from the break-off and the one safety that he's played in this frame as well, all of his shots have been parts of either reds or colours. So I do have a feeling that we might see the repeat of that Champion of Champions, because remember, Sullivan was dominating to something like 319 to 13 points at the point of the 4th frame starting. And in the end, didn't really work out too badly for him at all. So just basically looking to have a look and what we're going to see in terms of the situation there for Xiao Guodong, just getting the pin to be respotted by the referee. Should be going underneath the main puck. And yeah, I think he's going to try and stay on the black for as long as he can, if that's going to be available to him. Not sure if he's going to have to be forced basically to try and play for all these reds, to be taken into the left corner first and basically play for the blue. That's going to be the case for the first couple of shots. Needs an angle though on the blue, and he's just about going to get it. Not sure if that's going to be enough though to force cue ball down the table there, which he does need to do significantly. May be able to just find just about enough of that to force it onto the side cushion and basically just generate the bounce manually. Yeah, he certainly didn't have any issues with that. He's played a really nice shot. Clearly the angle was there, and despite there being a little push of the side cushion, certainly was able to play the shot quite comfortably on for the lowest red of them all. Now he's going to be trying to stay on for the black here for the next couple of shots. So taking the black into the left corner, then basically having the red to be bounced away from the path of the cue ball. He's going to help his chances as well. Try and stay on this break here. As he plays the shot, gets another red out of the way, but he misses the black there. So, I mean, it is going to be a chance here, and the perfect pot success is going to come away there for him. So, certainly didn't expect the mistake to come from this kind of a shot. Yeah, you can see just too much of a cushion that he caught, and the red is going to get past that black. So, as long as Ronnie's going to be up on the way quite nicely, he should have a good chance here to score some great points, and ultimately, you know, it's only one frame down for now, and as sad as it probably is going to sound, he was always going to lose that frame on the pure match fitness point of view, in my point. Anyway, now he's got two reds here certainly, which can be taken with the black or the blue. Now just check the way that you're going to be queuing. It's always going to be a nice little test for O'Sullivan. Make sure that the position is there for you. So played a really nice shot into the right middle to get started with. So plays the second black straight away. Of course, there's another point to be made about it when Ronnie's going to feel like, you know, he's been forced very much to the limit. He may have to try and find his best game as well. And it might just be that, you know, sort of sensible competition there. Trying to get the most out of his form, getting this black to disappear into the left corner. So it does look like he's going to try and get rid of 4 of these reds that he's got available. And probably even 5 here as he plays for the one on the side cushion. May have the cue ball to be getting away from the side though and on for the blue. So he's going to have a good chance to try and send the cue ball into the bunch here. But also, you know, he has got another opportunity to just hold the cue ball back here a touch. And it certainly did do that. Let's see if he's going to be on the red. Ooh, I think he's going to be unlucky there. And, yeah, let's see just how much unlucky he's going to be. Because he forced one of these reds to be pretty much over the right corner pocket. And, yeah, so 30 points there. Scored by Ronnie O'Sullivan. Clearly not going to be enough to win in the frame. But he's also going to be setting us up for a very interesting second point of this frame. And Xiao will obviously have a look at the red, which O'Sullivan would have left over the right corner pocket. And, you know, 30 points scored by Ronnie. You know, he had a decent break there for himself. Really managing to keep the cue ball perfectly onto the black ball cushion. Right now it is going to be Xiao Guodong with a potential difficult decision to make, because he can't really be sending the cue onto the top part of the table because he's going to have the red over there. And also, you know, he pretty much can't be sending the cue ball anywhere on this part of the table because he's going to have that red covered up by the right corner pocket. So that'll get him thinking. You can see the reaction on his face, just trying to realise the perfect position of placing the cue ball. Of course, he can always try and get rid of that red at the top part of the table, and it would have been all fun and good there. And that red not been over the right corner pocket. The problem that you've got as well, you know, if you're going to be leaving one of those reds to be available on the main back, you can always try and push it into the other red. So let's see, that's the shot that Xiao Guodong has played. Needs the cue ball to be going quicker than that, and he might have played a good enough shot, you never know. Let's have a look, he doesn't seem to be too happy about it. And let's see if Ronnie can try and find his way to hit one of those reds close enough. You feel like at this stage, if he gets himself on the collar, this could be a shot for the frame. And somehow, Ronnie has missed that red. Has he left it over the pocket though? I mean, he's got pretty nice control of the cue ball. So let's see if Xiao Guodong basically will be forced to repeat that attempt of a shot. And wow, I have to say, it's a really nice shot from O'Sullivan in terms of the way that he got the cue ball there. Probably too nice, I have to say, in terms of it would not have been on the colour, making the shot pretty much worthless in terms of had he got the red. But from this opportunity, you know, especially missing that red, quite unfortunately, he's going to be on for a great chance here of getting back to the table for at least one more time, because, you know, I think that red at the right corner has to be forgotten about. And it's all about just trying to cut the red, which is going to be closest to Xiao Guodong, into the right middle. But of course, easier said than done, pretty much alongside each other, the cue ball and the red are going to be. So this is certainly going to be some great drama and action for the next couple of shots. And he has to be taking this red on. He probably has no other choice. And he needs to get this one in. Otherwise, he's going to be the player in trouble. He's gone for it now. Has he got it? He has got it. Brilliant shot there by Xiao Guodong. But he needs the cue ball to slow down. And he doesn't want to be alongside the brown. So he's just about okay. I mean, he's passed the brown in a way that he's going to be playing for a shot into the middle. Just about fine. So he's able to deliver when it matters. And yeah, just needs to be picking up the pieces from here. Doesn't need the cue ball to travel a whole lot of distance, and just focus on getting the brown into the pocket. It's not too easy of a shot, actually. I thought he was going to be slightly easier than that, but he's able to take it nicely. So could have done with bringing the cue ball down the table slightly more, but probably not possible with the position that he had of his own previously. So yeah, I have to say, of the 6 remaining reds, one of them obviously over the pocket, but it may actually be one of the more difficult reds for him to be working with. He just needs to avoid that cannon on the black. And, well, he apologises there to Ronnie O'Sullivan. So clearly, was playing for these black to be taken into the left corner instead. So, yeah, as I say, as much as you feel like that red is over the corner pocket and it's going to be the easiest one to take, sometimes getting the position on the collar might be one of the toughest shots that you can possibly be faced at, because of how much distance you've got the cue ball to try and cover. And sometimes you don't have full control of that shot anyway. So, yeah, I have to say, of these 5 reds, I can't really see you going wrong on either one of them. Maybe the one next to the side cushion, but if you get in behind of it correctly and, you know, just played with the right side and backspin as well, you should be able to get yourself lined up for a colour, which you wouldn't need at that stage of the thing. You know, you still need that red because he's got 6 points of an advantage, and if he gets himself maximum points of the remaining 3 reds, he's going to be getting a 30-point lead with still 35 at the table. So, yeah, I feel like at this stage, barring any complacency errors, it is going to come down to that last red to be taken, which, you know, you never know. He may be tempted to try and take sooner rather than later. The reason why I say that right now is because he's got a pretty nice angle on this black to try and force the cue ball. So basically going for this red, bounce away from the black ball cushion and maybe getting behind him. That's exactly the shot that he's played. And, well, slightly too far away there from the cue ball. So let's see if he is going to be taking this red on. As I say, he was always going to be playing this shot with the perspective of a couple more of these reds being available to him. But he's clearly committed to taking the red on the side cushion first. And if he gets himself on the black, it should be a frame done and dusted. For now, needs to get the red in, and he does. So the position on the black is there, and Xiao Guodong is very much marching on to another frame win, and can't criticise Ronnie too much. You know, he was unfortunate with the way that he's played that red into the right corner, and he needed Xiao Guodong to step up. Xiao certainly did that. And, yeah, barring 3 more shots that he has to play, it's going to be away pretty nicely into a 2-0 cushion. And once again, O'Sullivan's just unable to win any one of the opening 2 frames. And it is going to be back to Xiao Guodong very much being in control of this encounter. So for now, playing a shot onto the black, I feel like, well, the first thought actually would have been that he's played this one with too much power and just needs to concentrate he doesn't repeat the story of the previous black being missed at 17 points scored. So now just try and roll this one in. He's not going to have any issues with getting on the red either. So plays a nice shot on the black. Could have done with the cue ball being slightly further away from the side, but you know, he only needs the red, so it shouldn't be too much of a concern. Try and take it into the left corner, and then, of course, take the black with the cue ball heading towards that direction anyway. And he's able to take this red straight into the heart of the pocket. And once again, it is going to be Xiao Guodong at the top of his game. And he's got a 31 points advantage over Ronnie O'Sullivan. So if you try and take this black into the right corner, we can still see a good break there made by Xiao Guodong. It's not going to be quite as nice as the 1-4-4 that we've seen in the first frame. But he's still got a great chance of making it 70 odd points or so. In fact, he's got a chance of a 78 points of a clearance in total, which, once again, if you add that up to the 144 points that he scored, it's going to be a great result for him to be taking on. But still mustn't be relaxing just yet. He needs to try and get that third frame win as well. And then he probably is going to be down to just simple cruise control and being fully in charge of this matchup against Ronnie O'Sullivan. Haven't seen too many errors from Ronnie's point of view, but also, you know, we've seen that chance not taken to a full extent. You know, 30 points scored from the opportunity that Ronnie's had. You know, could have been slightly different of a story, and he managed to split the reds better, but in the end, it was always going to be Xiao Guodong dominating the frame, and he's able to get the pink into the right corner as well. Now then, the black for the total clearance. And this certainly to be Xiao Guodong's story in the making. It is Xiao very much in full flow, and he gets himself into a 2-0 lead, with O'Sullivan making his way out of the arena for now temporarily, but if he doesn't step up his game, he could be out of here very, very quickly as well. So at the round 2, as you can see, the last 16 of a match being played, and yeah, if you talk about the other tables that we've got on right now, you've got Chris Wakelin losing out on the opening frame somehow to Elias Lesser. I actually thought he was leading by 60 points or so. Xiao taking full control over Pang Jingsu. I think it's actually the matchup which you will play, either Xiao Guodong or Ronnie O'Sullivan here. So that's going to be very interesting to see if we are going to witness another Chinese derby. If Xiao is to defeat Ronnie O'Sullivan here, certainly he's going to be a favourite in my eyes for that to be the case, and Pang Jingsu and Xiao defeating the other people from England. You can see that brilliant head-to-head when it comes to the English versus Chinese players. The only player that has managed to lose out from Team China was Ding Zhuhui, as I mentioned, to Barry Hawkins. You know, the likes of Chang Minyu beating Jack Lisowski, Yuan Xinjun getting the better of Judd Trump, the German Masters winner last week. Pang Jingsu thrashing Sean Murphy 5-1. Xiao beating Gary Wilson, and Xiao Guodong beating Kyron Wilson as well. And before, of course, you mentioned the Xiaozington getting through. One of his most difficult fixtures there that you can think about against John Higgins in the opening round. Now we get ready to, well, certainly welcome the players back, as still waiting for the Ronnie to make his way back onto the scene. So now it is Xiao Guodong waiting patiently, as he should. It's all about just trying to take his chances at this stage, and if you are going to be able to take them, from Xiao's point of view, as we have seen so far, managing to score around 250 points in comparison to just 30 from O'Sullivan's point of view. Yeah, Ronnie needs to make sure he steps up his game right now, otherwise it's going to be too late for that to be the case. So, very important frame once again, and it feels like it is going to be the difference in between him being able to recover from well, a bit of a disaster of a start of a performance, or is it going to be just Xiao running away with this one to an extent that we might see a whitewash here for the first time between the players, whether it was in O'Sullivan's favour or not. Of course, the only win other than the Champion of Champions from Guodong's point of view was at the Players' Championship. And when it comes to the Welsh Open, International Championship, World Grand Prix, there has been a whitewash. Whitewash certainly in one of them, but it was in 2018, in February as well, to be fair. And yeah, of course, it's the same tournament that we're going to be playing at right now, with it being that Grand Prix from Hong Kong. But at that point, it would have been quarterfinals. This time around, it is a battle to try and get themselves into the quarter-final stage. As Ronnie makes his way back onto the arena, he needs an answer, but does he have the questions there being asked from Xiao Guodong, or is he just going to be, I know all the answers myself, and I'm going to be taking this quarter-final spot no matter what, because, you know, for him to be in the world number 10, he's managed to win some great tournaments, although both of them being the same ones, and he would like to get that runner-up spot at the Champion of Champions very much upgraded to another ranking title next to his name. And with the Player Series event being held here in Hong Kong, it certainly is going to be a great boost to his chances to be playing at the Players Championship as well. For now, every single shot that Ronnie O'Sullivan has played at the start of the frame has gone on to be the starter for Xiao Guodong, with the long red being available once again. I mean, does he have anything holding him back here? Probably the fact that the black is going to be covered up by the left corner. You know, had it been the different story and it would have been available into the left, I think that would have been the shot for him to go for. In the meantime, just thinking about all of these reds, and I think he is going to commit to, you know. And if he takes this red, I have to say though, it is going to be slightly more difficult than the other two, but it's still going to be taken brilliantly there by Xiao Guodong. That can't miss at this stage. And now just looking at where the cue was finished, because yeah, he had to be cued really nicely. So it's finished just about on the yellow. I don't think there's going to be a great deal about trying to get the cue ball to be rolled up in behind the cheapest of the colours. So just trying to take it into the right middle, you would have thought, and to get the cue ball lined up for the lower part of the table. But yeah, he misses that one by quite a bit, which is surprising from what we've seen of Xiao Guodong so far. But also you have to bear in mind that he's not really leaving anything away here to O'Sullivan. He's got 4 loose reds, and that still have to be taken. That'll get us down to 10 reds being in open pack. And it is going to be a great puzzle to try and solve there for Ronnie. At least it gives him a chance to try and do similar sort of a story that we've seen. So I'm going to perform with the action every single time on the previous frames. I think it has to be all about damage limitation from here point onwards. And for now, if I was O'Sullivan, I would genuinely be concerned about just making the scoreline respective. Trying to be close to Xiao Guodong here. Should be taking the yellow back onto his spot. And getting the position pretty much, well, straightforward as he can be, with 10 reds being super close to each other. He's taken 2 reds of his own. Obviously had that brilliant long red from Xiao Guodong's point as well. But flying through this match, you know, 40 minutes since it started. And it feels like we're midway through the 3rd frame already. With O'Sullivan getting that red eliminated away from the black ball cushion. Is he going to try and get the cue ball into those reds? He's going to try and go for one more red. So clearly trying to play the best game that he's got to offer here in front of the fans. Trying to make sure he's going to be able to improve on that previous break of 30 points. And, well, needs the cue ball to slow down before he drops in the pocket. And he ain't going to be the case. So unfortunately, the shot that could have been played with a different fashion, I felt like maybe just the backspin shot would have been the one to go for. But of course, hindsight is going to be a wonderful thing. After you've seen that shot being played, and yeah, Ronnie knew as soon as he hit that shot, the cue ball is always going to be dropping. Of course, hasn't actually left anything away. It's just another chance that he's going to go to waste there for him, because it felt like, and he managed to get on the black. With a straightforward shot to be played on the red, he would have been having a great chance to try and resume the break from there. So all about, you know, the cue ball once again here to be taken safely onto the top part of the table. Some great shots there flying in yesterday against Joe Connor from O'Sullivan. And now once again just finding that yellow in a pretty bad way. But with it being slowed down basically on the yellow spot might not actually be the worst thing, because having the blue to cover up probably the only difficult red in terms of it being available to be taken there with a long shot from Xiao's point of view. And he responds with trying to put one of those reds onto the side cushion. Of course, he probably won't need it. To be fair, I was thinking that he's got 30 points there on the board, which, as I say, after that yellow being missed, probably was quite a cheap escape there for O'Sullivan. But he still was only able to score 12 points more than his opponent here. And Guodong is going to be coming back to the table very shortly. Once again, having a couple of those long reds to try and choose from. You know, he's got the one into the right corner, which he's having a really good look at. So once again, still, I mean, I do actually sense a bit of eagerness to try and get this, certainly mini-session one, with the perfect scoreline for himself. But Guodong has to be careful here. He hasn't got perfect position after this raid. Is he going to be able to take it, though? He won't. And yeah, I felt like it was a really cheap escape there. It is going to be a great chance for Ronnie, though, because he has got that 12 points advantage. He's going to have a straightforward red to get started with. And could this be similar sort of a yellow that Joe Connor has missed in that third frame? That gave Ronnie O'Sullivan that lifeline to try and hold on to. In the end, he still has got 2 more reds to try and work with, which was actually the point there that I was going to make about Xiao Guodong, is that even if he gets that red in, and he gets himself perfectly on the colour, which probably would not have been the case anyway, he still would have only got 2 more reds after that black, or blue, whatever colour he played for. And I just felt like it was a risk which was unnecessary to be taken, but to be fair, he was coming into that long red with 3 out of the previous 3 being made. So then let's have a look what Ronnie O'Sullivan will have to offer. He's got one of those loose reds on the top part of the table, which he didn't bother about playing for. Now he needs a contact with these reds, and has he got it? I'm not sure he has got it, and yeah, I mean, face reaction doesn't really give it away there. Just thinking about the position that he's got on basically all of these reds, and might have to try and push one of them onto the side cushion instead. So he's thinking about going for a plant, but I have to say, I would rather not see him do that because of how far away these reds are. And he's played this one absolutely perfectly there, Ronnie. Brilliant shot. And as long as he's going to be able to avoid any of those unforced errors, certainly he's going to be the one that takes him over the line here. And maybe, once again, a bit of an inspired comeback. You know, don't write him off just yet. He's always going to be able to be a real threat for whoever he plays. And just because I said he might have been whitewashed, doesn't mean anything. Might still, hopefully, as I say, might still, and hopefully will come back to win this match from here. Get himself through to that quarter-final. And he'll be by far the best performance of the season there. Even better than that Saudi Masters because of the opposition players that he had to play through. And especially having that chance to play against either Pang Jingsu against Xiao or Xiao. He has got a really good record against both of them. So, yeah, for now, it needs to focus on taking it 1 frame at a time. Managed to make it past his highest break of the match previously, up to this point. And, yeah, now has 52 points of an advantage. So still has to be able to get this one over the line and done with. Otherwise, it is going to be Xiao Guodong to be the favourite for the frame, because of the way the remaining reds are separated away from each other. But Ronnie only needs 2 more shots, and it should be a straightforward escape into the green pocket to get himself lined up for the brown, and ultimately only leave 51 points available there. So brilliant shot once again, and it's Ronnie O'Sullivan dominating the play here in the 3rd frame. After a mistake from Xiao Guodong, Ronnie was able to maximise the opportunity and get himself into the break of 51 points and counting. So could still be a century break technically. Probably won't be because he'll force him to try and take the remaining 3 reds with 2 blacks and 1 pink. Let's see if he's going to be aware of that. It's going to be just all about maximising the shots that he plays. Try and keep Xiao Guodong as quiet as he possibly can, although he hasn't played a good shot here. Might still be able to get on one of these reds to be taken into the middle. So another test for his queuing. Has he managed to pass it? He certainly has. He's queuing really well, I have to say. Don't want to jinx it at all. But this has been a frame of really good form there from Ronnie's point of view, as he takes the pink into the right middle as well. So 64 points right now. He's going to be on a potential break of 99 here. If he makes the total clearance from here. Slightly unfortunate. Always want to see him making a century break. And it's been a while since we've seen one of them. Probably have to go back to the UK Championship for that to be the case. So now playing this black into the left corner. Needed a massive bounce there of the cue ball. And he might have actually got it. And it's going to be a really underrated shot that he's played for. Once again, getting that perfect position on the yellow. Having the cue ball to bounce away slightly. Well, not slightly. Lost control of that one massively. And well, it's a good point that he's managed to win the frame at these points. Because 74 points. And, well, basically try and jump over the blue. See if that's going to be counted as a foul shot. And if the green is going to go into the yellow pocket, and he will. So that's certainly been played for by O'Sullivan, but I think it would have been called a foul. And yeah, it is Ronnie O'Sullivan smiling about it. As he now's just, well, shared a funny moment there with Xiao Guodong. And he's going to be able to get himself a frame on the board now. It is Xiao Guodong 2, Ronnie O'Sullivan 1. And I tell you what, Xiao Guodong for now, he's, well, able to smile at Ronnie O'Sullivan, but I don't think he'll be smiling if he goes into the intermission with it being 2 frames each, because after what happened to Joe O'Connor, he'll certainly be aware of that. But we haven't really seen that Ronnie, he was making 74 points of a break for fun. Because I'd rather watch paint dry than listen to a snooker match, not thanks and goodbye. You still watched it, so I'll take that as a bonus, you know. When you have people tuning in when you don't want to be, it's always a sign that, you know, you're actually so good that even people that don't like you do it anyway. So I probably take that as a compliment. But yeah, I mean, fantastic match so far. We're only doing everything that he can. He's certainly in that 3rd frame to try and stay in the contention. But he needs to make sure it doesn't really take it to the whole new level and basically go for everything that is there for him. He needs to be trying to take this opportunity away there from Xiao Guodong, take all the rhythm away from his opponent from China, and certainly make him the player to beat when it comes to the 1st to 3 format, which of course it will be the case if we are to be heading into the intermission with it being 2 frames each. For now, it's Pang Jung-soo that trails Xiao Wei 2 frames to 0. Elias Lesser and Chris Wakeland still share that scoreline of 1 frame each. And Jaganda and Barry Hawkins are still yet to get through the 2nd frame after we finished the 3rd one on the main table here. So by far, the highest rated match that we're going to see, I think, in any stage here. In terms of the remaining players, I think might have actually been challenged by Mark Selby and Zhao Xington. I think Xington is going to be just about ahead there of Ronnie O'Sullivan, especially with his comeback from his 2-year ban. He didn't really play in some of those late tournaments in January of 2024. So you can see he's moved up to the world number 8. So technically being the highest rated player from China, which is going to be a great achievement there for the world champion. Which still, by the way, needs a lot of ranking points there to his name. Because remember, he's got around 14 months or so, and then he's going to lose 500,000 of those. And of course, unless he's unable to try and find himself really deep. And don't go, well, it's a bit like Jeremy Clarkson on Top Gear, you know, when you talk about Dacia Sandero, like, oh no, anyway, last week, and then you just move on from it, and you forget like it's never happened, because it's not like you're going to care about it. What we are going to care, though, is he's going to be Ronnie O'Sullivan trying to spread the reds away from each other in the way, which is going to get the cue ball perfectly lined up for the ball cushion, which is something that he hasn't really done. So let's see if it is going to be this red taken there by Xiao Guodong. Or is he going to be taken to try and take it as a safety shot instead? I feel like he's going to go for the safe option. Or is he? Can't really tell from this angle, but he may be playing this one. And he was playing it. I think for the reason of dropping the cue ball onto the black ball cushion. And always getting that red to drift slightly wide and not available to be played there from Ronnie's point of view. And yeah, I think in the end, it is going to be all about this red to be sent past the yellow and brown. And he's actually played it past the yellow. So needs the cue ball to try and find the cover from the yellow, which will boost his chances massively for the safety leg, because it won't allow Xiao Guodong to be taking the shot of the pack of these reds from the left side cushion. But yeah, he comfortably can get through to this red, so it's all about maybe it not being playable into the left corner pocket, but he certainly can try and get a safety out of it. And basically repeat the previous one, but he hasn't played this one too well, you know. So he needs to make sure that the red is not going to be possible into the green pocket. And yeah, he got nowhere near the cue ball being lined up for the black ball cushion. And is it going to be a double attempt? We've seen one of those taken by Ronnie. And is it going to be another one? No, it's not. Needs the red to bounce away. So that red particularly is going to be saved. So it's all about the second one, which Xiao might have to go for into the yellow pocket. And get himself lined up with a real chance here. But trying to get himself on the break. Of course, comes into this frame slightly with more rust than he had in the previous two. And it's O'Sullivan that would have been really eager to try and get himself lined up with an early chance. Might have actually spotted a plant, you know, into the right middle. So this is going to be rather interesting to see. As he managed to judge this one quite well. No, he hasn't. So that's going to bounce away. But he still played the shot quite well in terms of getting that cue ball to be lined up perfectly onto the black ball cushion. So let's see what response we are going to witness here from O'Sullivan's point of view, that finds himself with a slight disadvantage that may turn out into massive problems later on if Xiao is able to just keep forcing that cue ball to be onto the black ball cushion and basically force one of these reds to be in a really dangerous position there for him. So once again playing the shot to make sure he's going to be able to try and block off the backspin shot, which he's done a better job of previously. But because he's got these reds to be played at, you know, pretty much one of them to aim, it's going to be quite difficult to make sure you don't leave anything away there to the opposition. So let's see what Sullivan is going to be able to try and do here. And basically just try and hit that red as closely to full in the face as he can. Just about avoids the touch and ball, which don't feel like it's going to be a massive difference maker. Although it does force Xiao to try and disturb the back, and he hasn't played this shot quite well. And his advantage given away there, so now Ronnie needs to make sure he judges the backspin of the cue ball perfectly here. Ideally doesn't want any of these reds to be over the pockets as well. So has he judged the backspin well enough? I think he has. And he's able to block off all of these reds by the right corner, which seem to have been causing a bit of chaos to themselves. But it is advantage wasted there, and as much as it feels like, it doesn't mean anything. You know, whoever gets the first chance here, with so many reds that we've got at the top part of the table, can stand a real chance of making another frame win without giving a chance away to the other opponent. And has he played a good enough shot here, you know? Because I'm not sure about that being the case. Doesn't seem like he's too happy about it there, Xiao. So let's see if Ronnie is able to get through to this red into the right middle. The answer seems to be no. And therefore just back to the black ball cushion there for him. Needs to judge the pace well. Well, doesn't really do that. He needed the cue ball to be tighter to the black ball cushion than he has played. So a massive battle here for the cue ball control. And yeah, Xiao still has got very much limited area to be trying to send this cue ball on towards. Still don't feel like he's going to have enough of the backspin to be playing the shot just as well as he would have liked it to be the case. So, yeah, I have to say, I'm very surprised with the way that he let that advantage to slip away from him. Now, Ronnie just needs to make sure he keeps putting the pressure on. And he's the player that basically doesn't make the same mistake. And I'm not sure that he's managed to do so. I mean, he hasn't really made the same mistake, but he has made a bit of a misjudgment on the power of the cue ball that he's played. I think trying to make sure that this safety battle is not going to drag on forever. Try to spread those reds away from each other. And in the end, it has allowed Xiao to be trying to go underneath the cue ball. So let's see if he's going to be able to put this one onto the black ball cushion himself. And yeah, he seems to have played this one pretty well on the cue ball control, but he has put one of those reds quite close, not going to say over, but quite close to the yellow pocket. Let's see if Ronnie's going to be able to cue this one well Because as I say, with the way that he's got those reds to be spread out across the table, it pretty much turns out to be a quest here. But I have to say, even if he gets the red, he still needs a colour to go with it. For now, all focus has to be on the shot of the red. Is he able to get it? Yes, he is. Now needs a colour. And needs a nice kiss on the red. And he gets it. So it's a wonderful chance there for Ronnie that, for once, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, for once he actually gets himself at the top of a safety battle. Whatever you do, just make sure you haven't worked really hard for nothing. And that was a fair play battle, you know. He was forcing his opponent to try and stay in this battle for a long time. And in the end, it was Xiao Guodong to blink first. Although he hasn't played a really good shot here. And as I say, I mean, this position just smells Primal Sullivan taking it in no time. And yeah, just needs around 60 or so points for him to be over the line here. You feel like, I mean, it's not going to be 60 points for him to win the frame without Xiao Guodong getting back to the table. But even 60 points of an advantage will be quite a nice lead for him to be getting. Especially, as I say, with the way the reds are spread out and he actually manages to find his way onto the lower part of the table as well. You know, he's got 3 more reds at the top part of it as well to go with. For now, getting himself on the black into the right corner. And this is where I actually feel like the match against Joe Connor might be kicking in slightly, because he's playing really well in terms of just trying to keep it simple. You know, don't rush it too much. Play the right shot. And in the end, he seems to be getting the best result for now at the early start of this 4th frame. So 21 points of an advantage. I think he's going to try and make his way through every single one of these reds on the lower part of the table. So just needs the cue ball to run slightly more than he has. And may have to need to take the blue from here. So just having one more look to see what the blue actually is going to be. And taking that red quite nicely. But is he going to be on the black here? The answer is no. He needs to be on the pink. And, well, with the way he's looking at this one, might have played it horribly wrong. And he might be forced to be taking the yellow on. And this is not a nice shot to be giving at all. 29 points advantage is not going to do it. And, yeah, he has missed the yellow. He got one of these reds in open play. And that is a real chance gone away there from Ronnie. And the problem is he hasn't even got that cushion to be forcing Xiao Guodong to be making a clearance here. 29 points is not going to be enough. So, yeah, Ronnie's just taking his eye off one of these shots, and unfortunately has gone wrong ever since then. You can see he's not going to be happy. But I don't really understand what he was playing for. I think like the damage was done on the previous shot. The fact that he had himself lined up so awkwardly on for that red was always going to turn into a disaster for him. So now, can Xiao Guodong make it a break of 64 points before he gets to that last red, which is going to be horribly positioned under the side cushion. So, I mean, it doesn't want these reds to be in the way of each other. Might have another red to be taken into the green pocket for now. So that's going to be probably the one shot that he can afford to get it wrong with. Just making sure that he can't get through into the right corner either. And, well, I mean, he's going to be quite close, I have to say, with the reds that he's got available to him. He's got 64 points of those reds, and he needs to get around 57, 58 of them, which is not really going to be helped on by the fact that he's going to be playing for the yellow. So he might actually need that red onto the side cushion. So it may be just one little bonus for O'Sullivan to try and hold on to, because, I mean, as much as it was a simple position, it was a simple position to win the frame for, not really to recover from being 29 or 30 points down. So, yeah, Xiao Guodong desperately needs to try and be taking those reds with the expensive colours. It's now 20 points down with 91 on the table. And of course, all of that is going to be down to him not being able to play for that red onto the side cushion. If he's able to do so, then he's certainly going to be the winner of the frame. But for now, just doing the maths once again, he's got 56 points here. So 65, yeah, he needs all of these reds to be played with the black here. If my maths is correct, maybe afford the blue or pink for a couple of those occasions, but with him taking the yellow, that's going to be out of the equation. And if anything, he needs to be getting that point stand is slightly bigger than what he's got right now because he's got 2 reds quite far away from the main pack of the pockets, quite close to the green pocket there, but compromised by each other, you would feel like, and therefore are only going to be possible into the yellow pocket. That makes it slightly more awkward to be trying to get position on them. For now, Xiao is going to get another red, taken pretty nicely. He's going to be on the brown, whether he's played with shot 4 or not, but this might be the perfect opportunity for him to try and get that red away from the side cushion. Because, as I say, he's got one massive issue of this red, and then he's got the slight issue as well of having the other 2 reds quite close to each other by the green pocket. So this is going to be a really interesting end to this 4th frame, and surely the deciding one in terms of who's going to be the winner, in terms of it being either Xiao or still anyone's match for the taking, because as much as we haven't seen too many of those mistakes from Ronnie, I feel like the opening 2 frames to be given away probably been too much of a points handicap given away to Guodong, and that's going to give him a chance to try and dictate the run of play enough there for him to be in charge and in control of this match from here. But still, very different outcome if he's going to be the winner of the runner-up of this frame. Now then, he's clearly going to be playing for this red to be taken away from the side cushion. Has he managed to play this shot? And, well, that's gone quite wrong, and he's unfortunate there. As much as I don't really want him to win this frame, he's really unfortunate there because he got that red perfectly away into the open play and still has the cue ball to be right in between the pink and the pink and the blue. Yeah, I mean, he's got the pink, he's got the blue, he's got the black, he's got the yellow, pretty much same in terms of the difficulty of those shots. He's going to be taking the black, might be the easiest of the 3, but still super difficult for you to cue this one correctly. And I'm actually surprised that he's taking this one on and he's missed it. Now, where's the cue ball going to finish? And it is going to be quite close to that red. So as long as it's possible, into the green pocket, it is going to be another chance here of this quest being, well, getting right there for Ronnie. He's got 3 points of an advantage. So basically, it is 4 reds for him. And he's going to be away into the intermission with it being 2 frames each. So for now, just, he's got the easiest red to be taking on right now. And he's got it. So that's one of the 8 shots that he needs to make. Now, the shot on the blue, but I have to say it's really going to go downhill from this point because, the position on the next red is not easy. But the position on the 2 reds, just above the pink spot, above the green spot, I should say, it's going to be quite horrendous to be playing for. He's played the first shot pretty well. Just needs to try and avoid the jaws of the pocket. Played this one quite well, and he has. Now needs an angle on the blue. Needs the cue ball to be keep rolling. And I have to say, it is going to be quite a difficult shot to be taken on with. He's not going to have the angle from the pink. Yeah, I have to feel like he's going to have to take the yellow on. It's taking the blue on. That's very surprising. And he's got the blue on as well. Now then, has he got the angle to try and force this cube onto these reds? He has played an absolute wonder of a shot. Now then, Ronnie, just get yourself over the line. Get yourself into an intermission. Force the Guodong to be nervous about it. And then maybe just be able to turn the page on your match performance. And he needs the cue ball to bounce away, far away from the brown. And he's just about got it, I think. He's got 16 points of advantage here, so 35 points. As long as he's able to stay on the yellow, he should be fine. Now he's played this one in, so he's got 20 points of a cushion here. He's got 35 at the table. This red should be pretty straightforward. Don't want the referee to be getting in the way too much. Actually doesn't. So then, 3 more shots you feel like. And it is going to be Ronnie O'Sullivan very much back in the hunt. The red should be a gimme. And if he takes the brown on, he's going to be 25 points clear with 27 at the table. So he needs the yellow to go after this brown. And it is going to be a wonderful frame taken away there from Xiao Guodong. Could have played with his shot being slightly closer to the yellow. Should still be able to roll this one in. But still, mustn't take your eye off the pot at all times. Focus on the yellow first. He gets this one in nicely, so just roll the green in. Make sure that Xiao Guodong won't have any purpose to be coming back to the table. and it is going to be Ronnie O'Sullivan, show to steal once again in frames number 3 and 4, and he's going to be a real threat for the deciding point of this matchup. It is now surely Ronnie O'Sullivan 2, Xiao Guodong 2, and in many comeback completed. I have to say at that point, where it was a 2-0 cushion to Xiao Guodong, I felt like it was all over. But I always knew, as long as it's not 3-0 down, O'Sullivan may be able to find a little spark in himself to try and come back stronger. He certainly has done now. Now trying to force it for 49 points of a total clearance. If he's going to bother about the black, remains to be seen. And it looks like he will. It's always a good sign for me that he is taking this match proper seriously and entertaining the crowd, certainly entertained me. 49 points of a clearance, and probably the best of Ronnie O'Sullivan that we've seen from a long, long way. And he's going to be a real threat to still be a contender for this matchup. But in the meantime, we are going to go over to 15 minutes of an intermission. It is Xiao Guodong 2 and Ronnie O'Sullivan 2, as the top 2 seeded players are going to be battling away for the quarterfinal spot against Pang Jing-su or Xiao. We stay tuned in. The best of action is yet to come.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move.
invincible.
Yes, everyone, we are back after the intermission, and let's see if it is going to be more of the same there, because I'll certainly be there for it. Some great snooker there being shown to us by the two players, especially at the end by Ronnie. Well, at the start by Xiao Guodong with that fantastic clearance of 1-4-4. In the end, only paying 3 times there in the entire break. And in the end, he's played really well to try and go really deep into this match now with Ronnie O'Sullivan. Guaranteed to witness 7 of the possible 9 frames here. But I feel like the first couple of shots are going to be super important from both players' point of view. And has Ronnie managed to play this shot well enough to make sure that the cue ball is going to be behind the green? He hasn't. So, yeah, I mean, if, by the way, Nisha, if you're saying, like, seriously, if you set it on the paint, I have to say, may not have the worst chance right now, but usually it'll be one of the least favourable colours for me to go for. And the first colour that he's going to be potted, well, it's going to come now, surely, because it is going to be one of the bold colours. And it might actually be the pink, you know, so it's quite close to the cue ball to be on the zone of either you go for the yellow, you go for the brown, or you go for the pink itself. If it is going to be potable into the left corner, but it's going to be down to those 3. But I still feel like the pink is going to be the 3rd best force, with Xiao Guodong having a look to see if the pink is going to be potable. So, yeah, he's got himself into, once again, a nice opportunity. Who wouldn't tell me? Well, if we knew, I don't think we'd watch the snooker, because you'd have the whole competitive points of it to be thrown away and out of the window. And the reason why we're so interested in this one, because we've got no clue who's going to win. We all have our favourites, but it is the brown that is going to be the first colour. And is it going to be enough of the power there for the cue ball? I feel like it will be. And Xiao Guodong has played the shot just about well enough for him to still be on this break. Although he's going to have a bit of a struggle to try and get on the black from this red. So, yeah, looking forward to see how this one is going to go. Trying to get really deep onto the cue ball here, surely. And basically trying to bodge out the other red out of the way, which he has managed to do. So it's all about the next couple of reds there. But I say he's managed to do there. I was focusing on the cue ball, but as soon as he bodged their red out of the way of the black, basically another one has gone. And, well, he's going to have it to try and do it again here. Once again, just having a look if the pink is going to go into the left corner, which will boost his chances massively. I feel like he will, you know. That's going to be great news to Xiao Guodong's ears. And, yeah, he needs to be playing some great snooker that we've seen at the start of the first mini session. Remember that so far, this has been an absolute carbon copy of the match. Joe Corner against Ronnie O'Sullivan. And if you go according to the script, you're going to have Xiao Guodong to win this frame quite comfortably. And then it is going to be Ronnie O'Sullivan's show from that point onwards. Still feel like it could happen. But whether it will or not remains to be seen. Xiao Guodong has committed to be playing for this pink into the left corner. So it looks like he will go past the reds. Ronnie O'Sullivan there just in the background having a look to see if that's going to be the case. And yeah, just probably feeling if he's going to be taking the pink spot, which he might do at this stage if it's not taken by those reds anyway, because, you know, getting the pink to be on the blue spot might actually help his chances there, especially with the way he's got 3 or so more reds set up at the right corner, very much waiting for him as he takes the pink into the left corner, no problem. Don't really understand what was the check-in all about. He clearly either goes past that combination of reds or he doesn't, and I feel like, you know, the gap was always there for him. So the pink is going to go on the black spot there, so it's just about not taken by these reds. So let's see. He needs a couple of good shots now to get those reds out of the way and force the cue ball to be on that pink. It's still going to have quite a difficult position there to make his way through. With the referee just following Xiao Guodong, making sure that he's going to stay on the remaining 3 reds that he's got available after this pink. That should give him around 45 points of advantage. And of course, that goes without saying that any shot that he plays from here could lead the cue ball into those reds. And he has played the shot now, and he's played it to absolute perfection. Well, as long as he doesn't have the pink in the way, that's certainly going to help his chances, but that doesn't seem to be the case. The pink is going to be returning back in his spot. which may compromise the shot into the right middle, but it doesn't, so that should be a frame-winning shot that he's played. Brilliant there from Xiao. And it's all about just trying to minimize the mistake there. Once again, it's going to be another frame where Sullivan plays a shot or two. And it looks like he's going to sit out the remainder of it. And it is going to be down to Xiao Guodong, of course, if that's going to be the case, because we have seen a couple of easy shots. That was the first colour he spotted, the brown. As I say, if you seriously gone for the pink, I think that would have been one of the worst ideas, because, you know, frequency-wise, you'd always have the pink to be covered up by those reds. So, you know, I suppose you do you, but it was the brown that he went for. Now then, it is going to be the red that he's taken into the left corner. So a bit of backspin and the side cushion shot. Needs the cue ball to bounce away, and could have done with it being slightly further away. I was only playing through. He's actually playing pretty well for what we've seen so far, and he's had the perfect frame number 3 and 4. It's just that he had the first frame where he didn't have any of those chances, and now, you know, he's basically played one shot in this frame, and so it seems like he's going to be playing really well. But though, he's going to have a massive mistake on the pink. Wow, this could be the perfect jinx, and he's smiling about it, but I mean, he's not going to be smiling when he goes back to the chair, because as much as it's still a very difficult position for Ronnie to be winning the frame from this stage, yeah, he can't believe that he's missed that pink. And Ronnie, you can see in the background, certainly can believe that. But as I say, I mean, it would have been an easy close-off if Xiao Guodong just managed to avoid those errors. It's not going to be anywhere near as easy for Ronnie O'Sullivan to try and climb back from being 30 points down. And the first colour doesn't really get any easier for him, because this red has to be taken, which he has taken pretty well. Now then, he's got an option of either going for the yellow or the pink. I feel like he may want to leave the pink over the pocket if he's going to be playing for the right part, but might actually be taking this one right now, because the 5 reds that he's got available, I feel like 4 of them should be heading in towards the left corner. So just asking the referee to clean the white. And yeah, he's playing alright. As I say, I still see massive improvements, and probably one of his best matches that I've seen him play so far. Still very rusty and raw in the opening 2 frames, but managed to step his game up to a really good extent, especially in the 4th frame. Had a fantastic clearance of 49 points to finish that thing off with a couple of very difficult raids after another mistake. Well, it was a mistake, but I feel like it was a mistake after trying to get the red away from the side cushion from Xiao Guodong. He basically committed to going for the black, and yeah, it was a difficult shot for him to be taking on. Now then, talk about difficult shots. O'Sullivan, has he played this one to perfection? I feel like he has. If he's able to get through to this red with no issues, he should be in really good control of the remaining 5 reds. Try and make his way through those, and then how many reds left? So you're going to have, so after he gets the pink, 7 reds left, 4 of them in open play, 16 points of a difference in between the 2 players. So I feel like O'Sullivan's point of view right now should be just trying to focus on those 5 reds and get yourself in with a real chance of clinching his frame away, because if you get 4 of those with the pink, it's going to be something like, you know, 28 points. That'll get you into a minor points advantage, so probably will still need the remainder of the reds. But I feel like, as I say, don't really want to get ahead of myself too much, but I feel like he's going to have a chance to try and get the 2 reds right next to each other on the blackball cushion, away from each other, and therefore away from the cushion as well. You know, the red that is going to be by the black, still feel like he's going to need that one as well. For now, just making his way through comfortably all of these reds, taking every single one of them with a pink so far. He's going to have the 4th one to be taken into the left corner. That seems to be queuing pretty well, with majority of those reds disappearing right into the heart of the pocket. So we'll play the pink with a bit of backspin once again from the cue ball's perspective, and now 35 points, so he finds himself in the lead. As I say, 12 points is going to be very much the advantage if he's able to get onto one more red and pink combination. He gets the red in, so now is going to be the deciding point of the frame. Well, at least one of them, potentially. He's got 3 reds after this pink, all in very much bad positions. You get the pink in, and he's on the red. So, you know, the 2 reds that I mentioned quite close to the black ball cushion. He manages to get on the first one, but I feel like it's not going to be easy to try and get on the pink from this position. And also just make sure you concentrate on the pot enough. And, ooh, I mean, that's super unfortunate there from O'Sullivan. And I have to say, I really hope that doesn't cost him the frame. He's played the shot of trying to get that cue ball along the black ball cushion, but in the end, got an unwanted touch of the second red and got the cue ball straight into the pocket. So the break of 42 points. And it is going to be now 34 points for Xiao Guodong. So I don't know why they awarded 4 points to Ronnie O'Sullivan. Ooh, that's quite fortunate there from Xiao. Gets a very thin contact on the red. And he missed. He has missed. He had a very difficult position there. So the fact that he's still in this frame, I still like it. It's a bit of a miracle. Especially, you know, you think about how he got into this position. Now needs a bit of luck from the side cushion. And he was quite lucky there not to drop the cue ball. Did he miss the pink white? So Xiao missed the pink. And O'Sullivan didn't miss the pink at all. 3 reds left. 2 reds left now. Don't know why he's got 2 reds, by the way. Let's try and fix that. So let's just try and make it like this. Yeah, there you go. Sorted this out. And, well, I'll tell you what. This safety shot from Xiao Guodong may not be the worst thing that happened to Ronnie O'Sullivan, because he's going to have a nice chance to try and drop this red into the right corner. He hasn't played this well enough, though. The cue ball needs to be getting some safety off those colours. And in the end, he's just about done that. I don't know why they've got the scoreline 46 for O'Sullivan, because clearly should be getting 4 points away to Xiao Guodong after that miss. And putting the cue ball. Even though he got the red, I don't feel like that's going to be the rule. And he's going to try and go for this red to be taken. And it's a really nice shot. Well played there by Xiao Guodong. Let's see if he's going to have this red available there, Ronnie. So, yeah, he should be trying to force this red onto the side cushion. Doesn't really mind this one too much, but he knew, as soon as he played that one, he knew that he wasn't going to go to plan. And, yeah, he might have left the position away. 2 reds left. And might be a lot fewer than that. Come the next shot for Ronnie O'Sullivan, if there is going to be one. Something about it later on. But it's still very much the battle. You can see the scoreboard on my phone of the mobile data. Reconnection settled. Right then, everyone. Apologies about that. We should be back now. Onto the action. Let me just load up the stream as well for me to be seeing it. But as I say, at that point where I basically got off there, I think it was very much Xiao Guodong to be trying to have a good campaign here. He's got a very important shot on the yellow, as I can see on the stream, and he got it, but he's compromising himself quite badly on the next colour, which is going to be the green. So then, all about the chance that he has got ahead of himself. Trying to get this green into the left middle. Try and play it well enough so that you're going to be on the brown. And he hasn't played it well enough, you know. This green is going to go all over the table. And Ronnie O'Sullivan should surely now be trying to take the frame and make it an absolute steal of the tournament there. Especially for everything that has been going the way of Xiao Guodong. This is now a very important shot for Ronnie to try and get this green into the pocket. And he's missed it. Now where's the green going to finish? It's going to finish in the position which makes it potable there for Xiao Guodong, but just about missable as well. Well, it all seems to be happening now. The deciding point of this matchup. And now just looking to see if we are going to be witnessing a very important outcome. And is it going to be 3-2 of an advantage to Xiao Guodong, or is it going to be back to Ronnie O'Sullivan? So that's still certainly looking forward to this one. Is it going to be Ronnie to come back to the table? Or is it going to be Xiao to attempt this green? I feel like he's playing a safety shot away from the green. So he clearly feels like, you know, he had a couple of chances slip away. I mean, same probably can be said about Ronnie, because I feel like the green that he could have been taking on would have been a great chance for him as well. And right now he can just about get through to this green to once again try and maybe nudge it towards that right corner pocket, because that's the way to be playing a safety shot anyway. Now then, as he got it, oh, it's really close, needs a cover. And is he going to get it? He's not going to get it from this stage, you would feel. And it's going to be all about just trying to get the cue ball to the top part of the table. Because remember, Xiao Guodong is actually the player. Has got the upper hand here in terms of the points. So it's not going to be too easy to try and cue this one into the right corner pocket, but still should be able to do so. Forces the black out of the way, but because of having the brown pretty much over the pocket, it may but not be the worst bit of news ever that Xiao Guodong's had. So just once again try and get yourself into an advantage here of taking the brown here. He got himself into a 10-point lead, so he needs the blue to go after the brown as well. So has he played this one well enough? Needs the cue ball to speed up a bit, and he's not going to be perfectly on the blue at all. He's going to be taking this one on there into the left corner, but you know, whether he's going to be able to take it or not remains to be seen. He only needs the blue. Sullivan needs the 3 remaining colours. So it still feels like an absolutely massive frame for either one of the players to win. Now, is it going to be the story for Xiao Guodong here? Once again, trying to do a couple of frames better than Joe O'Connor, and he's going to be able to do it. So after all of that battle, it is in the end going to be Xiao Guodong's story to be written, and he got himself into a really good start here. Now as he gets 18 points of an advantage with the pink and the black, there's not going to be any way that Ronnie O'Sullivan is going to be able to come back from this position. So yeah, just all about damage limitation there in the end for Xiao, as the pink stays out. So don't feel like Ronnie's going to be bothered about this one. There's no way he gets to keep the pink away from the pocket in the first place. So it is going to be now Xiao Guodong with a 3-2 lead, and advantage Xiao once again. It was a very close friend in the end. And yeah, well, now it's all going to be first to 2 for Xiao Guodong, and first to 3 it remains for Ronnie O'Sullivan. But remember, we're still going perfectly according to that scenario of repeat of Joe O'Connor match. And of course, now the script involves Ronnie O'Sullivan going on a brilliant roll, winning 3 frames on the bounce and getting himself to try and write a perfect story there once again. So yeah, I mean, he's going to have to try and reset himself, because he had a couple of stages to that frame where he was losing when he was winning, and when he was a 50-50 once again. It felt like it was all about just trying to get that green into the right pocket. He got super close to it in the end with the last shot that he's played at that frame. But in the end, because when you get so close to it, you leave that green to be over the pocket. That has turned out to be the case, and it is now once again going to be Ronnie O'Sullivan to try and play the chaser game. Let's have a look at how the other tables are doing. In the same time, meanwhile, Xiao looks to be certain to face either Xiao Guodong or Ronnie O'Sullivan here, with him having 59 points of an advantage in the 4th frame after having a 3-0 lead against Pang Junxu. Elias Lesser now with a 2-1 lead over Chris Wakelin, although it is Chris Wakelin that is on the run now and 40 points clear in the 4th frame. So it's incredible really that, you know, we've got 3 frames to be finished in the match against Elias Lesser and Chris Wakelin. Then we've got 4 frames about to be finished in Xiao and Pang Junxu. 4 frames as well in Shaganda as he leads Barry Hawkins 3 frames to 1. And we've gone past the intermission, and now we've gone past the 5th frame as well, despite it being such a lengthy one here. You can see Joe Yulong there in the background with a bit of an interview being made to the fans. Neil Robertson and Mark Selby in there as well. But ultimately, it is still very much the story of Ronnie O'Sullivan to be written. And now is he going to have what it takes to try and come out of the darkness once again as the victorious player? You know, he's a 7-time world champion for a reason. Doesn't really have a perfect head-to-head when it comes to this particular tournament. But he's still going to be a great threat in the remaining. You know, whether it's going to be 2 more frames if Xiao Guodong is to go on to win each of them. You know, his former winner here, of course, in 2018, 2021, and 2024. And that win in 2018 has been inspired by a great win in the quarterfinal against Xiao Guodong himself by 5 frames to 0. I mentioned that one previously. And, well, right now, it's going to be all about just trying to get on this raid for Xiao Guodong after a decent break-off shot by Ronnie. Once again, the fact that Xiao has got that frame advantage may just force him to be playing those shots with, you know, slightly more of an aggressive approach. But it remains to be seen what we're actually going to witness from the 2 players. For now, it's Ronnie just trying to get on the edge of this raid and play it across the table onto the right side cushion. Gets the cue ball to be diagonally to the top pile of the table as well, right next to the green pocket. I feel like Xiao is going to respond with a similar approach here, just try and guide the cue ball along the right side cushion, basically push those reds into one another and be quite close to the back. Gets a little bit of a favourable kiss on the brown, but Sullivan can't complain about this one too much. He got a similar one of those in the first round match. So, yeah, I don't actually feel like he won him the frame at that point, so maybe that's going to be the inspiration to take on, if he's going to be able to remember minute details like that. But the edge of the red that he could see in the end just allows him to try and guide this cue ball past all of these reds and to the top part of the table quite nicely. So it just sounds good on looking to see if he's got a chance to try and take those reds into each other once again. So just basically spread the pack away from each other here and get that cue ball to be lined up closer to the brown. He plays this shot well enough for him to be in contention, and he's played it really well in the cue ball's perspective. You know, just the safety battle, which of course he's going to be playing to the hands of Xiao Guodong because he's the leading man. And also he's going to be the player that seems to be enjoying those safety battles slightly more than Ronnie O'Sullivan there. So remember the last safety battle that probably springs to mind massively is going to be the one in the fourth frame, which up to this point is the last frame that Ronnie O'Sullivan managed to come out on top with. So yeah, making sure that the red, the most dangerous of them all, is going to be covered up by the blue, as the cue ball is going to be lined up pretty much on the green spot here. Still got a couple of options next to his name there, Xiao Guodong, but with the black covered up, the paint pretty much not available into any of the pockets as well. He's going to have to try and make it the long way around for the blue. Otherwise, he's going to be dealing with some major issues for the next couple of shots because, you know, Sullivan managed to cover up that dangerous red by the left corner, and if he plays the safety shot of his own, he needs to try and make sure he does the same thing here. And, well, he's managed to do it to an extent. I'm not sure if he's managed to do the same thing with the right part of the table here. And, well, these hits has to be cued absolutely perfectly by Ronnie O'Sullivan. Those straight shots are usually quite a horror show for any one of the players on tour. And he gets this one in, to be fair. It's a really nice shot there from Ronnie. Just needs the cue ball to bounce away from the side cushion slightly. So, yeah, he's still going to be in a very difficult contention here to try and take the blue, get himself to the next couple of reds. But ultimately, any sort of points advantage, which is going to be a substantial deficit to his opponent, is going to be taken there by Ronnie because he's 3-2 down. He's still very much battling to try and find himself into the quarter-final stage here once again. Now then plays the shot of the cue ball, trying to get it into a perfect gap, and I feel like he's managed to do just that. Although he's going to be on the red. I've just realised he's going to be on the red here. It's the colour that he needs to be worried about. And, yeah, if he takes this one into the left corner, it's not really going to be too easy for him to try and land on the pink, which probably, at this stage, has to be the only colour which he can try and pot. Just about manages to get enough power on the cue ball to have that one to bounce away from the cushions. And, well, he's actually going to be positioned midway through the brown and blue, which probably tells you just how much power was put into that cue ball. And now can he try and hold the blue into the middle, keep on the white to be on the next red. And, well, it depends if he's got one into the right corner, because he's got one into the left, but it's going to be far from ideal to be taking on the red like that. So just try and bounce it away. Have the cue ball. Ooh, I mean, that was really close to missing that red and leaving it over the pocket. In the end, he's just about fine here, as he gets himself onto the green or the yellow short selection. Got the cue ball placed perfectly onto the ball cushion, which was always going to be the intention anyway. But now he's just looking to run himself out of reds here to try and play for the open position here right now. So looking to see. And I feel like he is going to be committed to going for the yellow and trying to force the cue ball down the side cushion. He plays it just about far enough there to be on the next red. So then once again, just such a tough quest there for him to be playing those shots off the yellow, off the blue every single time. Really love the paint to be in the equation for him. And let's see if he's going to be able to do that now. Was always going to be heading that cue ball towards the left middle pocket. Quite fortunate not to drop it in. Bouncing it away just about fine to be on the next red, but with him getting the pink completely out of position now, feels like it is going to be ball colours or blue. Or it is, it's just going to be the matter of time until Ronnie inevitably runs himself out of position. Plays this one with whole lot of power and needs the cue ball to slow down. Needed to speed up at this stage, and well, he's got 3 reds available, but he's not perfect on either one of them for the next scholar's sake. So yeah, let's see what he's going to try and do here, and cause chaos. And it might have actually worked out too badly for him. He's still on the blue. He's got those reds into the open play, and he's got the black to be on the lower part of the table as well. So 21 points advantage. You know, he's taken so many pots away there, but it's only 20 points that he's got in between himself and his opponent. So just looking at the blue, he should be taking this blue on. Just try and get onto the black ball spot or in around here. And you've got a couple of reds which might be quite safe there for him. Now needs a good bounce on the cue ball. Needs it to keep rolling. Needs it to keep rolling even more. And he's played it well enough. Certainly has played it well enough to be on the next red. Whether he's going to have transition on the black remains to be seen. But he's got the blue now. Very much available to try and play those shots from the red. Once again, using all of that pocket to his great talent. 27 points advantage here for O'Sullivan. Getting this blue to be taken into the left middle. So, yeah, at this stage, I have to feel like he probably will need around 60 or 70 points of a cushion, because as much as he managed to develop the position, he's managed to develop it for potentially his opponent if he is to make an error from this situation that he finds himself with. Therefore, he needs to try and kill the frame away before Xiao Guodong finds himself back in the table here. And he's trying to get into that 50% zone, as I like to call it. Gets the black into the corner quite nicely. Of course, that's going to help his pursuit of those points as well, because you're going to be able to get those reds with the black, and also you're going to be able to control the cue ball well enough, hopefully, there for himself to try and stay in the perfect position there for himself, as tries to be putting the black here for every single one of his shots. Tries to take the black into the right corner, uses the other red as a bit of a handbrake for the cue ball to try and stop it. And once again, it looks like it is going to be very much brilliant form there that we're going to see from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Just make sure you're not going to be able to sort of, well, get himself into trouble here at this stage. 49 points of an advantage, so 56 is going to be the advantage after he takes the black in. So 75 still at the table. So 2 more reds at this stage. Should be what he takes there for Ronnie to be the winner of the frame and getting to the last 2 frames to decide the winner of this matchup. Well, potentially last 3 to be fair, because we are going to be entering frame number 7. But Xiao Guodong is going to be very quiet, sat in his chair after that brilliance of Ronnie O'Sullivan taking that super difficult red into the right corner. And yeah, it feels like just one of those vintage Ronnie O'Sullivan breaks there, because of how little the worst of the position when he came up to the table, and now all of a sudden he finds himself the winner of the frame, barring Stukas, as he's got 63 points of an advantage. So to bring it back level, and for it to be 3 frames each here in between Xiao Guodong and Ronnie O'Sullivan. Now, would love to finish with a little century break, which surely will be the highlight of the tournament for just how difficult the position was. You know, so many difficult reds for him to get through, and yeah, trying to get on this one into the left corner might not really be helped on by the pink. And once again, just makes his way past the black in a wonderful way. Barely a millimetre in between the contact, and yet it is the perfect outcome achieved. Rolls the black into the corner nicely, so it is going to be the highest break of the match that O'Sullivan has produced. The fact that he's got the breaks of 78 and 74 certainly is going to be very much an inspiration point, because I have to say, as much as probably it's quite sad of saying, it's been a while since we've seen those being made in the opening 6 frames. And also, you know, it's led on, apart from him missing that black, it's led on by the wonderful game that he's had. And now 79 points. He's going to get Ronnie over the line. And it is down to the last 3 frames here. Just let me refresh the chat, because it seems to have frozen. But what hasn't frozen is the chances of Ronnie to try and still be in the contention there. And, well, certainly it's going to be all about this one for Ronnie. He got himself back in the hunt. And still following that perfect blueprint and the template of the match against Joel Connor. Now he's looking to win on 2 more frames and get himself into the position to be in the quarter-final stage, as I say, for the first time in, well, certainly some time there. 3 months or something. Not frozen. It's frozen for me. That's what it is. So I just want to put it on the screen so that I don't just have saying, you know, reconnecting, trying to do something about it. There we go. That should be better than that. And yeah, I mean, talk about the actual match. You know, it's been pure entertainment. Xiao now, it's got a 4-0 lead against Pang Jingsu, and the reason why I keep mentioning that is that the winner of Xiao Guodong or Ronnie O'Sullivan will play the man from China in the first place, but is it going to be Xiao or Pang Jingsu? It looks like that win over Sean Murphy was probably a bit of a spark-up, which didn't seem to last there for Pang. Elias Lesser and Chris Swakelin are now trailing with each other there of 2 frames to each. Zhang Anda still has that lead over Barry Hawkins, 3 frames to 1, but 4 frames completed in every single one of those matches, and yet we are the ones to have witnessed 6 frames of fantastic action there. Very much 2 hours since the match has started and got underway. It is now, once again, a response from Xiao Guodong needed because, well, a response from both of the players needed. It just depends on the way you look at it. I feel like still it is, for now, Ronnie O'Sullivan's match for the taking potentially, especially with the way that he's been playing, winning last 3 of the 4 frames that he's played. But, you know, when you get so close there from Xiao Guodong's point of view, he's certainly going to be in there with a great shout. And now as you wait for the referee to give the cue ball back to Xiao Guodong, I think it is turn. Frame number 7, so he's going to be going on the odd ones. And Ronnie on the even ones out there. So just waiting and doing some maintenance work on his tip. Waiting for the command, of course, the referee will receive. From, well, depends really, one of the organisers or whatever they do it here. Maybe the assistant referee as well. Now then Xiao Guodong to get us underway. And his first shot in the while, it feels like, because that break had to be led by, you know, a bit of time taken in between the shots, which means that he had to spend considerable amounts of time in his chair. And now that's certainly the way for you to come back up to table. Gets a really good chance of just forcing Ronnie O'Sullivan under a little bit of pressure. Getting those reds to be into basically sent into one another. Now as he gets the contact on the yellow, probably wasn't the plan there for Ronnie. But still has got a really difficult shot there that Xiao Guodong has got ahead of him. And remember, he wasn't really too keen on taking those long reds in the previous frame or two when he had that lead of 3 frames to O'Sullivan's 2. And of course, it was Ronnie that went for that brilliant long red. And well, I mentioned that for a reason. He's got another long red available, though it doesn't seem like, you know, he doesn't seem like the player that has got the ability to try and get himself into an early shout with the frame. And yeah, just had that feeling where he was going to miss the red. And if he had made it, it's going to be difficult to land on the collar. In the end, it's a red missed, but ultimately not give it away at least. So it's going to be the advantage here for Ronnie O'Sullivan. As he's got Xiao Guodong to try and force the cue ball a long way around, although he hasn't got a great traction on the reds, forcing it way higher up the table than he would have liked it to be. And once again, it depends on what Ronnie can see from this position, but he should be just guiding the cue ball across the table. Gets it past the red and ultimately avoids a very important kiss. So, yeah, perfect shot there from Ronnie. Getting that cue ball super close to the ball cushion. Make no mistake about it, he's going to be a real threat for this match no matter what happens. And, yeah, just basically playing this shot with the cue ball to be sent across the right part of the table. Needs to be careful he doesn't leave any one of those reds too close to the left corner, which he's done. And once again, getting that perfect pace judgment on the white. So some great safeties there being played by the 2 players. Once again, as I've mentioned previously, usually working out to favour and in favour of Xiao Guodong. And, ooh, I mean, that was super risky, but is he going to be super effective? That red is going to be going up the table, and it's going to be awkward there for Xiao Guodong, but I would expect him to be taking this red into the left middle, and probably to be making that one stick as well. Although, from this angle, it probably looks slightly worse because of the brown being in the way. Yeah, it's really awkward for you to be queuing this one. It has to be just sending it down the table. And, yeah, that was the right shot there. As much as I don't really want Xiao Guodong to win, but I feel like for his own sake, if you play that red that way, you need to play with very little power, and you're going to compromise yourself on the next colour, and instead, he's still going to get himself into a good position for the safety battle. And you know, the good old thing about Ronnie is that, especially when it comes to the safety battle, when he makes one error, Seems to back it up with a couple more to come this way. Although he has responded with a really good safety here. You know, the cue ball had very much a minor angle to try and go towards. And in the end, it manages to find it pretty well. Land that cue ball onto the ball cushion and have a plant of reds available for Xiao Guodong, but the distance in between the two of them probably puts it to the test whether you're going to play a safety shot, let alone trying to pot the second one with just how much of a risk will be put into that shot. By the way, I mean, I have to mention that the black has gone onto the side cushion, well, quite far ago. I think it was quite long ago, I should say. I think it was after the opening attempt of a long shot there by O'Sullivan, and the pink is going to be compromised slightly as well. I think not to the extent that you usually would expect it to be, especially with that shot being played from Xiao Guodong, realising obviously the case, and Ronnie acknowledging two things that he's done is, of course, keep him in trouble, and still getting that pink to be available for one of the players if they are to get a chance to make it worth some of those points there. So two cushion escape for Ronnie, so he's forced to go the long way around. Let's see if he's going to be able to get the minor contact. Ooh, just about. That's unlucky there from his point of view. Got the contact on the ping. That's going to be unlucky on the referee as well, because I feel like Xiao Guodong is not going to be taking the position from here, and therefore it'll take us a bit of time to get back underway. So as he takes the ping to be taken into the side cushion, so yeah, Xiao Guodong is having a look at the plant available to him at the right corner, and what I said, he's not going to be taking the position from here. He might have just been thinking about it otherwise, because yeah, the reds are, to be fair, they're looking really nicely into the corner. Need a slight adjustment there, but he's got a bit of distance to do that. So I'd actually be more concerned about just trying to get on the next colour, because if you play this shot pretty much full ball, in terms of no spin on the cue ball, you're going to be forcing it into the reds, and yeah, basically once again getting into the hands of God, whether you're going to be landing on the next colour. So he's going to be taking this position from here. Ooh, he's missed it, but he's fluked the red incredibly, and that's going to be super fortunate there for him. And, well, he holds his hand up, and so he should. That was super fortunate there. I didn't actually feel like getting the red was going to be the more difficult part of that shot, but in the end, he gets it in. Would love to, well, wouldn't really love to see Ronnie O'Sullivan's reaction, because I can imagine it. He'd be absolutely fuming with not having the ability to come back to the table. Having a couple of those reds available to himself, and well, let's see how many points Xiao Guodong is going to be able to take, and that can be a bit of karma, although, I mean, I don't know whether it's karma or it's a really bad shot there, because it's a perfect snooker. The problem is, it's the snooker that you've played on yourself, and he is going to be in the world of trouble there, which is why you can see he doesn't want to play this shot. He doesn't want to walk up to this shot anyway, because he knows how difficult it is going to be. He's perfectly behind the yellow. I mean, it's a straight line right next to the yellow pocket. Right next to the yellow spot, I should say. So, closer to the left side cushion, but still, I mean, he's got so many reds away from each other on the black ball cushion. He's got a couple of loose reds as well, but for you to try and get into them without leaving a red away is going to be pretty much mission impossible there for Xiao Guodong. The good thing is as well, I mean, it's a good old factor off. You could get yourself on the red from Ronnie's point of view, but it's going to be really difficult to try and repeat the success of the previous frame, and get yourself to basically be playing those shots on the blue, on the ball colours, and inevitably get the black to be available for yourself as well. For now, as I say, I think it is going to take a bit of time for Xiao Guodong to realise the line that he's going to be taking. It seems to have an approach in his head right now. Maybe a bit of hidden hope. It is going to be hidden hope. And it might have actually worked out pretty well. I have to say, the cue ball is still going to be going to the lower part of the table, but he's played this one with... I feel like he was expecting the cue ball to bounce away closer to the ball cushion, to be fair, so you have to give him some credit for that. But in the end, it's a mid-range shot for Ronnie. He needs to be taking these ones on, and he has taken it brilliantly. Now then, easy on the pink. I feel like he needs to try and stay on the pink here for as long as he possibly can. I mean, the green is possible, but it's super difficult to get yourself a position from the green. It's not quite as easy. You know, even if you're going to do it from the pink spot as well, especially with the pink being so close to the side cushion. Is he going to be able to take it? No, he's not going to be able to take it, but he forces the pink to be on the side cushion and remain there. So, I mean, this has turned out into an absolute horror of a position for one of the players. Of course, Xiao Guodong does have that 9 points of an advantage, but I have to say, even from the first shot, feels like it is going to be a bit of a disaster for him to try and get on the next colour. I mean, he's got the pink out of position, he's got the black out of position, massively on the side cushions. He's got the blue to be at the top part of the table. And he's got the brown perfectly positioned on the bold cushion, so this is a nasty position there, which is why, I mean, Ronnie was forced to basically take that pink on and probably put it back on the blue spot. Try and get some points on the board. And I feel like Xiao will just try and play it into the black. I mean, he can try and hold the cue ball for the yellow, but let's see what he's going to try and do here. And, well, I mean, he's played for a shot of the pink into the right corner pocket, so that still might work out, although, you know, you need to get this pink in. You ideally want to get it with a bit of backspin to be played as well, to see the cue ball bounce away from the side cushion. And once again, just play this one across the table there for the cue ball to be lined up for these reds. Now, he's got 16 points of his advantage, so just looking once again to have a look at whether this red is going to be available to him. You know, he's obviously been trying to aim for. I mean, the referee is going to have a very quick look to see if pink is going to be possible here. And I feel like it's not really the case from his point of view. So, yeah, he's put it on the black spot instead. I felt like it probably wasn't even worth taking that risk on, because he could have played the previous shot on the yellow and pretty much get himself into the same position, barring, you know, he scored 4 more points. But I feel like with 123 more at the table, made that 115, as it takes one more red into the left corner. Still going to be a super important frame, especially from this position, for either one of the players to be taking on. Now then, Xiao Guodong to try and get this green now into its own pocket, play the cue ball through this shot, get himself lined up for the next red, and needs the cue ball to speed up here. And yeah, this is going to be the difficulty there for Xiao, because he needs the cue ball to have the angle to be going up the table every single time there for the next, I don't know, 6 shots or so. I mean, 3 or 4 reds. Try and play them with colours, getting that cue ball back and forwards to the top and to the bottom part of the table there. He seems to have fixed his issues with taking those easy reds, but he's going to have loads more issues now to try and carry with him. Yeah, basically, if you take this green into its own pocket, you should still have the traction on the cue ball to have that one bounce away onto the side, which is going to get him into a decent position at that point. But he's going to be running out of reds there, which are not going to require any more adjustment to the position, and he doesn't really have a lot of points to speak for it as an advantage. Yes, he's got around, well, by that point, he's going to have around 30 or 40, but he's still not going to be over the line there with that points tally. Now, has he played this one well enough? Well, I feel like he has just about judged it really well, because the cue ball was always going to be heading off the side cushion away into that little gap that he created there with the angle that he had on the green. So allow him to try and cut this red. Make sure he passes the jaw, which he has. Now get yourself lined up for, well, one of the bold colours really, but doesn't look like he's going to be perfectly lined up on either of them. And he should be fine for... He can't really take the yellow on unless he's going to be forcing the cue off 2 side cushions, which is going to make the shot a lot more difficult. And that seems to be the approach anyway. Because trying to desperately make sure he's going to be able to free up the ping, and yeah, has that 1 cushion escape. But as I say, I mean, yeah, it's not really working out perfectly, although he's still in the hunt, which still works out fine for him. And I mean, he's got a massive decision now to try and make, because he's got 1 more red to try and get the cue ball to the top part of the table, or he can try and take the more difficult red and basically get a couple more of those reds away from the pink spot. Away from the pink, I mean, and away from the black ball spot. Now then, as he managed to get this one lined up just about nice enough, well, I feel like he's fine. I genuinely feel like he's fine, especially if he forces enough of the topspin on the cue ball. Should be able to force the white over these reds and basically get himself set up to be taking the shot into the left corner as well to go with it. And, sorry, the stream has gone slightly bad for me here. Let me just refresh it. And I'll be back with you in just a moment. Sometimes, you know, when you watch it on the official broadcast, it may actually be better for you. And yeah, so takes the pink, runs himself slightly out of position for the next raid, but still going to be fine in the hunt. So just make sure you miss that front jaw, which he has. Once again, played it really well. Just get the position on the green. And he's going to be a real force now, Xiao, to be going quite far in this frame. And once again, just forcing that advantage to go his way, instead of for it to be heading the way of Ronnie O'Sullivan. You know, it's always going to be a tight match, but you know, the two frames that Ronnie has lost at the beginning of it seems to come to bite him now, because as much as it's only 38 points of advantage, there's not so many points for Ronnie O'Sullivan to try and make his way through if he's to come back to the table. Because you probably got ourselves into a zone where it's one chance, one frame win, one of the players, and the miss that Ronnie O'Sullivan had on that pink seems like it was, you know, didn't mean a lot at that stage. But with his break of 33 points and counting, Guodong certainly seems to have put that to the test. He needs a couple of more good shots, and he certainly got one now. Nicely lines up for the pink, not for the first time in this frame. And yeah, he's got 39 points, so he's got 3 reds in open play, which he managed to develop for himself. And this is going to be a great response to the previous frame win by Ronnie, making that 79 points in such a difficult position. And Xiao Guodong looking to pretty much produce similar sort of thing there, but him getting the break of 40 points and counting. Just try and get that red into the right corner, so he's got 45 points of an advantage. So the next red and color combination after this raid should be enough for him to be over the line and get himself into a position where he's going to guarantee himself a decider. And it's going to be Ronnie that will have to try and basically make things happen there for himself. He's going to put Xiao Guodong in a great position here. As you can see, he's going to be lined up with 52 points of an advantage as he takes the ping nicely into the left corner. So once again, play this one with a bit of topspin on the cue. Just make sure you miss the pack of 3 of those reds and get yourself lined up for a frame ball, which he hasn't actually played for. So just try to hold the cue ball for the pink without using the cushion to make sure that nothing can go wrong. So for him to be going 59 points clear with 15 under the table, and the next red will ensure that it is going to be 2 sneakers or so needed for Ronnie O'Sullivan. But it's a really nice frame there from Xiao Guodong's point of view. You know, he's played really well. He's managed to take the chance that was presented to him. Same can't be said about Ronnie, but it's always going to be the issue, you know, when you trade frames with your opponent. And that's when we're going to go off script. And the match of Joe O'Connor is not going to be repeating itself. Because as much as Xiao hasn't really been too clinical with his chances, neither has Ronnie. And in the end, still feels like it's the player from China that he's going to be the man to beat. As he gets the pink into the left corner as well. So making sure that Ronnie is not going to be coming back to the table. Of course, it is going to be an incredible frame win if he is going to make it a century break. The first one, well, the second one in the match. I mean, the first one since that fantastic start to the match in the opening frame. And yeah, just trying to get himself on the pink here, but he's lost control of the cue ball quite badly, and it looks like he's going to run himself out of position. So still plenty of table time there that he got to himself, and just trying to take the pink into either green or the yellow pocket. Should certainly get the cue ball to be lined up off the side cushion, and he's still, well, quite close to it. I thought he made the pink in the end that wasn't quite the case. And let's see if Ronnie's going to be coming back to the table. He won't be. It's quite known sometimes when it's no point of trying to battle the frame out. Try and get a bit of frame time of his own. He clearly feels like there was no relevant there to him. And it is Xiao Guodong that leads Ronnie O'Sullivan by 4 frames to 3. Both players go for a bathroom break. And by the way, thank you everyone just tuned in. And feel free to subscribe and like the stream if you're watching for the first time. Still going to have all the action from the World Grand Prix before we go to the likes of World Open, the Welsh Open, and the players and the Tour Championship still to come our way. You know, maybe even the resolution of the Championship League. I'm not quite sure if there's going to be any point of doing that for the simple format of first to 3 not being particularly the one which is going to be my favourite. And by the way, Xiao, he doesn't look like he's going to have a straightforward finish line there, because Pang Jingsu is about to take at least one of those frames away from his opponent. And it is now going to be Xiao 4, Pang Jingsu 1. Still massive advantage to the former semi-finalist of the World Championship. Elias Lesser battling away with Chris Wakelin for the 5th frame win. It looks like it is going to be Slesser to take a 3-2 lead there, same as Zhang Anda over Barry Hawkins. You know, sometimes 4, sometimes 5 frames that we finish, but this time around we're going to have 7 frames to be finished in the match of Xiao Guodong against Ronnie O'Sullivan, and it's still very much advantage for Team China. Team England seems to be struggling with this one. I mean, I'd say Team China overall, I mean, the Chinese players have been absolutely dominating the World Grand Prix. I mean, there's no surprise about it. It's a home venue, but still, you know, we've seen it at the International Championship where we've had Xiao Jington against Wu Yize, very much the likes of Li Beifan and Xiao trying to challenge there as well, but at least we had a couple of players from Scotland on the other part of the draw. But right now, you see, you've got Joey Long, Yuan Sijun, you've got Wu Yize, Chang Minyu, Zhang Anda, Pang Jingsu, Xiao, Xiao Guodong, and Xiao Jington there. So we've got 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players out of 16 that we have in the total draw of the last 16 stage. Of course, we are going to lose some of them inevitably. You know, some will lose to the players from England or Wales. And a couple of others are going to be losing out to themselves there, because we do have the China derby of Wu Yize against Zhang Minyu, which is going to be quite an interesting match for maybe the battle of the underdog. Though I'm not sure you can call Wu Yize an underdog after everything that he's done in the previous couple of matches and tournaments as well. And yeah, once again, it's all about just waiting for the players. That queue is going to be waiting there for Ronnie O'Sullivan for him to be picking this one up. The table is there. The setup is there. Let's see if the performance and the delivery from the players is going to be here as well. Not long to wait now. Maybe 1, maybe 2 more frames for us to witness. I certainly hope that it is going to go the distance, and it's going to go the way of Ronnie O'Sullivan. He does have a good tendency of winning some of these deciders so far this season, but although he has probably lost out on the 2 of the last ones that he's played. You know, he had a couple of the Saudi Masters, winning against Karen Wilson and Chang Minyu. And he lost out, of course, in the final for a decider to Neil Robertson, 10 frames to 9. And yeah, in the end, he was the decider that he lost out to Jack Lisowski at the International Championship in Nanjing as well. As Ronnie's back, Xiao Guodong is back. The referee hasn't left the arena at any point here, so it's all down to the action and it's all down to the wire. Is it going to be the decider, or is it going to be the fairy tale story for Xiao Guodong as he'll march his way into the quarterfinal stage once again this season? Because probably similar sort of record when it comes to quarterfinals. You could think about too easily that Xiao Guodong's reached, you know, the Masters just a couple of weeks ago of the Triple Crown, and then getting himself to the Wuhan Open final and being the winner against Gary Wilson in another decider, just to mention. And, you know, Ronnie has got a final appearance of his own against Saudi Masters, which I mentioned, and also Xi'an Grand Prix against Gary Wilson. So, looking at a couple of options there that he had to his name, nearly getting that red to drop into the left corner pocket. And also, remember, I have actually just thought about it. Has he managed to get that clearance after the fluke? And I don't think that was the case, though, because he stuck himself straight away after it. And it was just all about O'Sullivan not being able to take the next colour after the brilliant red that he's taken. So, yeah, nothing to blame there from Ronnie's point of view. Hasn't played too good of a shot here either. Once again, having the pink and the black to be covered up by the reds. Nothing new in terms of the story of the match so far. So, we're just having a look at potentially the cut that he can afford to be taken once again there. You know, he's not in a desperate position like O'Sullivan. So, he can be taking slightly more of a risk in comparison to Ronnie here. And yeah, if you just get this red into the right corner, you should be able to play this one with the cue ball getting away from the main action zone and doesn't need it to drop. And I feel like it will drop into the pocket, and that will give some sort of a chance away to Ronnie. Although I have to say, You know, with me mentioning that the black and the pink are going to be covered up, it's still going to be a lot of a challenge for Ronnie to try and take it away here from Xiao Guodong. Make it his frame to lose. For now, just taking this red into the right corner will certainly help. Now, how's his pace on the cue ball? Overrun slightly for the blue, but always had the tough angle in terms of playing it slightly closer to the blue. Having a look if he's got the chance to try and take it into the left corner as well. Clearly, he doesn't want to take the yellow because of the topspin necessity. And just forcing that cue ball to go off the ball cushion. And yeah, touching the green didn't really help. And as I say, I mean, didn't really expect the break to end on 3 points or something. But I just have a weird feeling that he'll still try and go for this red. Although, I mean, you can't really say he shouldn't be playing a shot like that. Because, you know, if it was the first shot, you have to be absolutely taking this one on. But I just have the feeling that he will be missed. And he was missed. Now, where's that red is going to finish? Is it going to be in the way of the yellow? I feel like he might be, you know. So, not sure. There was no hand of apology there from Ronnie's point of view. So, maybe this red is still accessible there by Xiao Guodong. We feel like a touch and go. But once again, I mean, the same is going to apply to him. The position that he's going to get his hands on is going to be a very difficult one to try and get substantial number of points there for him to be the winner of the frame. For now, it's all about just trying to get past the yellow with a little swerve. And takes the red in, although straight away, massive sacrifice in the position. Places the cue ball perfectly on the bulk line. And yeah, basically the yellow or nothing for him to try and to continue the break here. Because the more reds we get out of the way earlier in this frame, the quicker the frame is going to go. But yeah, I mean, for the neutral, maybe actually supporting. Well, you're definitely going to be supporting there for Ronnie O'Sullivan at this stage because you just want to see this match to go the distance. Certainly seems to be the trajectory that he's been going towards right now. But Guodong just seems to be taking an upper hand now on the last couple of frames. And despite Ronnie playing some good stuff in the midway point of this match, he seems to have taken a step backwards in the last couple of frames. Now the yellow is in. How's the contact on the reds? There's not going to be any contact, but there's not going to be a great position on the reds either. So I mean, it's still fine to be sending the cue ball back to the top part of the table here. But once again, it's actually been the easiest red for him to be taken. And he has to take it with a very difficult cut there for him. So trying to hold it for the blue, which has actually worked out. To be fair, I didn't feel like he could have taken so much pace away from the cue ball. He certainly proved me wrong on that one. And it's just all about taking this blue with a couple more of these reds. Try and get yourself into some sort of an advantage there in terms of points. Going to have 2 of those right now. With still 12 more reds to try and make his way through. He's got 3 available. And then from that point onwards, he's going to have to try and make things happen there to himself. So I'll play those 3 reds with the blue. And on the third one, probably try and take it right into the bunch. Though, once again, very close to being straight on this blue. It doesn't need an awful lot of angle, but still needs some of it to be sending the cue ball onto the side cushion every single time. So try and take the cue ball away to the lower part of the table here. But he does seem to be concerned about something. So maybe just it feels like he needs to try and hold the cue ball here. And played for the other direction instead. Makes the shot slightly more difficult. And also it makes the next shot slightly trickier as well. Because the cue ball being so close to the side cushion, it's quite difficult to be underneath it. And yeah, it's just about comfortable enough for this red probably not to be missable. And the cue ball still getting that traction to be on for the blue. Although, I mean, that's probably the worst timing of that for Xiao Guodong. Because, I mean, he's on the blue, but he's on the wrong side of it. Just about the wrong side of it. So I don't feel like he's going to have the chance to try and force this one the long way around. Alongside the ball cushion. I mean, he can take the brown on, but once again, it's the wrong part of the table, which is going to be sending the cue ball in towards. Therefore, he needs to be taking the green might actually help, but with him not taking a look at that, probably have to say he's going to be committed to taking the blue. Though he's taking a look at it now, as I say, I feel like the green has got the perfect opportunity for him of those 4. But, of course, only he can tell just how much of the angle he's got. And how much of it he's going to be able to use. A lot of it, I'll tell you that for free. Now then, he's got the power. Does he have the traction? And does he have the contact on those reds? Well, I'll tell you what, if he got himself a red in open play, he's going to be very fortunate here. And I'm not sure that is the case. So I'm not... He was trying to hold his hand up, but it probably was just to say that he was very disappointed. And yeah, he probably has the reason to do. There's the reason to be disappointed there. He's got 14 points of advantage, and he's so close to being on this red into the right corner, but in the end, that's not quite the case. So it's a safe shot, it would seem, although still trying to guide that red towards the right corner pocket and try and pot it if you can. And maybe get yourself in the position of getting that cue ball in behind the colours. Now he's missed the red. Is he going to leave it over the pocket? No, he won't. And he gets a nice little kiss off the yellow as well. So it's a break of 21 points, which is going to be putting Xiao 1/3 of the way into the quarterfinal in terms of this particular frame. 14 points of a difference in between the two players. Ronnie needs to take this red well enough so that he's not going to force it over the pocket. And I'm not sure he's done that, you know. I'm not sure he's done that at all. It's going to be quite a straight line. And make sure we keep the chat English only there. Otherwise the message will be removed. Oh, it's super close for Xiao to be seeing this red, but probably he's slightly too close for comfort there because of how straight he needs to be playing this red with a touch of contact towards the left-hand side of it. I mean, it's going to be super difficult for him. And yeah, just trying to get that cue ball to stop when he plays. Won't actually do him any nicer in terms of the positional play. He needs this shot to be going all the way up for the blue or the ball colours. This is going to be a great tester for him. And he didn't pass it. Now, where's that red going to finish? It's going to finish in a favourable position there for Xiao because it's not going to be playable for Ronnie O'Sullivan. But it gives Ronnie basically a free shot of the safety play now. Trying to get the cue ball into this red and play it into the side. Try and add a bit of backspin on the white here. And has he tried to send it into the main pack? Well, whatever it was, he's played a really nice shot there. Had he not shown the minor range of those reds. So even though there is an acknowledgement there from Xiao, I feel like he can get through to the edge of those reds, and therefore it just makes the shot a lot simpler than he could have been. And so that's going to be gone. Once again, getting that cue ball to the yellow pocket, and it's a really nice recovery there. So pretty disappointed there from Ronnie O'Sullivan's point of view, because he basically got himself into, once again, a safety battle of a 50-50 percentage in terms of the next chance to be presented to one of the other players. And yeah, especially with how the previous couple frames have gone, feels like it's still going to be very much Xiao Guodong's frame to lose from this perspective. But he's just played a really good one in terms of the safety there. Fortunate with the kiss on the brown, also forcing that one quite close to the green pocket. So once again, it's going to be promoting the long shots. You've got the yellow pretty much over the right middle from the lower part of the table, but he's got a plant available there, Xiao. And just as I mentioned, that brown is going to come in very, very handy indeed. And I feel like this plant is pretty much unmissable from this point, although I just realised the angle that he's got on this cue ball. So that's going to be far from ideal. Let's see what he's going to be able to do with it. And yeah, what looked like unmissable from one angle turned out to be absolute horror of a shot to be taking on from another angle there, and he was nowhere near to making that plant in. You put that cue ball quite close to the yellow pocket, and it's pretty much unmissable for a professional, but you put it pretty much straight down the line in terms of the cue ball being alongside the spine there, alongside those reds, and all of a sudden you turn it into a real difficulty there for you to be playing. Once again, decent safety there from O'Sullivan. But giving the turn back to Xiao Guodong will certainly help the chances for the player of China. So Guodong is going to have to try and keep quite a few of those reds on the cushion, because, you know, he's not going to be the one that needs all of these reds. O'Sullivan might do. So depends on the way the next couple of points are going to go. For now, he's just guiding a simple and a loose red towards the right corner. And has he played this shot well enough? Well, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that at all. And yes, the angle is horrible to the cue ball, but this red has to be taken and it has to be potted there from Ronnie. Otherwise, there's no point to be playing those safety battles in the first place. Can't be expected to be given an easy chance, and, well, I mean, that's really poor from Ronnie. He's going to be disappointed with himself. But he might not be disappointed with the way that he's left anything to Xiao Guodong. I'm not sure. I mean, the way that he's fuming about this one surely feels like, you know, he's lost a frame and then potentially a match here. But, yeah, you can see this red. That's why. Ronnie knew it better than I did. I didn't actually feel like you could see the cube will get past this black, but you can. And, yeah, it is going to be very much a frame to lose here for Xiao Guodong. Ronnie should have been over yeah, I mean, all over that red. Getting that one into the right corner pocket would have given him at least a chance to try and force the decider, but I feel like a couple of previous frames have taken it away from the reality, and I feel like the reality check is going to come in very shortly, because that 17 points, which Xiao Guodong is going to have, 99 points at the table, and yeah, the worst thing about it is that so many of the difficult reds have been brought into play by Ronnie on that previous shot. And just the fact that he missed that red in the end, yeah, it feels like it's the last shot that he's played. And once again, his campaign is going to come to a very short ending there. It would seem, of course, Xiao still needs to get himself past those reds and blacks. But, you know, had it happened in the 5th or the 6th frame, I would have been like, well, maybe still got a chance for Ronnie to come back to the table. But he's had such a dominant frame number 7. And he's been so consistent in this frame as well. I just can't see him making a mistake like that. 25 points is going to be his advantage. So just guiding his cue ball onto this red. And trying to stay on the black for as long as he possibly can. I mean, unless it's going to be a miracle of a mistake, Ronnie is going to be out of the picture here. And Xiao Guodong will certainly be one of the best shouts for the tournament crown to be taken. Because he's going to be the world number 11. We had loads of those to be eliminated. I feel like Mark Allen has been eliminated by Ali Carter. Still, I know he was a decider. I feel like Carter won that one. And I don't know why they just added 7 points to Ross Sullivan's count. It's still Xiao Guodong very much at the table. And yeah, being very much in charge of this position. I mean, he doesn't really have to do a lot here. And you can see in the background, Ronnie, he's not going to be in the mindset to be coming back to the table, which probably is still slightly wrong there from a professional point of view. Because if there was a mistake to come in, you need to be ready for it. But have to be said, I really do understand it. There's nothing that can go wrong here. Every single red is going to be unplayable. And therefore, that 34 points advantage for Xiao Guodong is going to be very handy there. But he's played a really good match, Xiao. You know, the first couple of frames have always been super important to him. And he's looks like he's managed to make it work for himself in the end. Just trying to get those reds past all of these pockets. So he's got a couple that he can try and guide maybe into the yellow pocket here. And just thinking about against it for now. Trying to keep it as straightforward as he possibly can here. Making sure that he's going to have the best positional shots to play. And also he's not going to have any of those troubles to be faced with any of the reds or the colours. In terms of the match ball opportunity, and the camera goes on to Ronnie. Well, he still played better. I mean, it's definitely an improvement from what we've seen at the German Masters. And I feel like he probably came away against one of the best players that he could have possibly been in the second round. I mean, he don't beat Karen Wilson 5-2 with a chance. I mentioned this previously that Ronnie's finished, and I don't expect him to win another ranking title. Well, yeah, but that's a boring point. Because Ronnie, as I say, is improving from his performance at the German Masters. So if he manages to keep the steady sort of incline for him, then he's going to be able to be a real challenger there in one of the tournaments to come, and maybe even in the World Championship. I feel like it's going to be all about the fatigue there. You know, he's mentioned it before that 17 days is a lot for you to come through. Now focused on Xiao Guodong here. He's got a match ball and has got a match point for this red now to be taking him 54 points clear with 59 to the table. But yeah, once again, it's a boring point because I would rather see Ronnie O'Sullivan to play 2 matches and still very much appreciate him to turn up rather than just say, well, I'm not going to turn up at all, and therefore, you know, I might just watch someone else the snooker, and the snooker tour is always better with Ronnie in it. And, you know, he still played his part in it. You know, he don't say that Trump is finished just because he lost in the second round. In the first round, I should say, to Jan Jun, because he's just won the German Masters, and yet he can lose out to someone like Yuan there. Murphy, the runner-up at the German Masters. Yes, this shot was quite bad there for him, and you can see that he cares about this, because he probably knew that at that stage it was the last shot that he's played. So, yeah, credit to Xiao Guodong, though. He's going to be in the quarterfinal. By the way, thanks for everyone tuned in. Feel free to hit the like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. We'll be here for more of the action of the World Grand Prix, but unfortunately, you'll have to be without Ronnie O'Sullivan there. What is more likely to happen is the semi-final of a ranking event to compose 4 Chinese players. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing absolutely wrong with that, and I'll be there for it. If they're the ones playing the best snooker, I mean, couldn't care less about it. Whether they're going to be from Australia, from England, or from Wales, or from China. Xiao Guodong has played an incredible match, and he's going to be the Chinese derby in the quarterfinals. Still remains to be seen who's going to be his opponent. Whether it's going to be the Si Jiahui or Pang Jingsu remains to be seen. But I would expect Xiao to be a real threat for his part of the draw. Of course, he'll have to play probably either Zhao Xingtong or Mark Selby for him to get through to the final. But it's certainly going to be one of the favourites for him to go quite deep into the tournament. Especially after defeating the world number 2 and the world number 11. Lose, well, as I say, you can laugh at it all you want. And I'm certainly going to say thank you very much, Ronnie, for tuning up. He had a really interesting match against Joe Connor, and just because he was the runner-up today, it still feels like he's played some great snooker, and he always had a good chance. In the end, it is going to be Xiao Guodong's story to be written, and you'll have a couple of good words there to be said to him. And it's the player from China, and it is going to be Xiao Guodong into the quarterfinal as he marches on and defeats Ronnie O'Sullivan for the second time in a row after that Champion of Champions defeat in the first round. Now it's going to be the second round defeat at the World Grand Prix, and Ronnie is eliminated, and Xiao Guodong will go through to the quarterfinal. And the best of action is still to come. Just very quick to catch up on how the other tables are doing, to let you know. So Pang Jingsu has got another frame back there with a century break to be made. So Si Jiahui has got that gap down from 4-0 to 4-2 down. Elias Lesser and Chris Wakelin still battling away for the 6th frame. And Zhang Anda and Barry Hawkins are now 3 frames each, with nothing to separate the two players. But it is all to separate Xiao Guodong and Ronnie O'Sullivan, as it's the player from China that will, in the end, be coming through to the quarterfinal. What match will we cover next? I'll have a look at the draw. I'll see if there's going to be any point doing the quarterfinals tomorrow. But for now, thank you for everyone that's tuned in. As I say, feel free to hit the like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. We'll be back with the quarterfinals, or maybe the semi-final and the final action to come on Saturday and Sunday. Stay tuned in. Thanks for tuning in once again. I'll speak to you later.